Hello and welcome to your Mike Stewart pregame show presented by Moorpark Center for Dentistry. Changing the way you feel about your dentistry every single day. Moorpark Center for Dentistry, caring about our community. Thank you for tuning into your Moorpark coverage of this football game, brought to you by the Moorpark Raider live stream. My name is Nick Federico, play-by-play commentator. Alongside me, I have Ryan Ketchum and Justin Borson, your color commentators for tonight's game. We are here at Griffin Stadium as the Moorpark Raiders are going to be hosting the College of the Canyon Cougars. Now, the Cougars come into this game 5-0, undefeated and rolling. They are actually ranked a top 3 team in the state of California, interestingly enough. But there is some momentum on the Moorpark Raiders side. Though they have not won a game since week 3 when they were able to defeat the Glendale Gauchos of a score of 24-19, they are coming off a bye week. And with a bye week means they have a whole extra week to prepare for this game. Though the Cougars are ranked very highly and they have an excellent team, the Moorpark Raiders have an entire extra week to study and practice for this game. They also are coming back with their star athlete, Ethan Polster, a quarterback that got hurt at the end of the Cerritos game late in the second quarter, is finally back. Last week, Vinny Corso, oddly enough, their starting wide receiver, had to come in at quarterback and play the entire game against El Camino, which Moorpark was just barely lost at a score of 23-13. But this is a new week, it's a new game. We have Ethan Polster back here. We also have Troy Smith that's able to make something happen in the quarterback position. So, with that being said, I want to ask you guys, how does Moorpark adjust and play with the game, play against such a high-caliber team as the Cougars in this game today?
What is going to be a lot of the offensive they're going to change their offense a little bit, their offensive style. Obviously, you mentioned Ethan Polster, number 16, one of the quarterbacks that he started becoming on the rise before he was out with a concussion. Obviously, he did miss the game last week actually 2 weeks ago, because last week was the bye week, against El Camino College. But he is back now, as you were mentioning. Troy Smith as well, bringing him out of redshirt. It's going to be interesting how they use those different quarterbacks, if they use both of them as well. One of the interesting things, though, with a quarterback now in the lineup for Moorpark, Vinny Corso gets to go back to a slot receiver position, which will open up the field. Vinny Corso maybe be only one player, but if he's running his routes like he usually does, there's going to have to be double teams against him, which opens up for Kyle Peterson, opens up for Curtis Colliard, opens up for Will Boucher, Ryan Matlock. I go on forever. But it opens up the field, is my point. Jeremiah Creation's going to get more carries. Brandon Archibald's going to get more carries. It's just going to be overall better offense just from that one quarterback coming back in. So I think that's going to be the main point of focus for this game, is to see how the quarterback play affects the offense, because we saw it affected against El Camino College and it affected it in a negative way for Moorpark.
Absolutely. And we look at the Cougars offense, they are highly stacked. A couple of athletes that point out to me are their wide receiving core. Jaron and Brandon, a couple of these athletes here coming in. Pierce, pardon me. Jaron and Brandon Pierce, not related, but both two studs that play the wide receiver position for the Cougars are almost unstoppable. Jaron comes into this game with over 100 yards per game, and Brandon Pierce comes in this game. Actually, he's got some wheels. He's a speedster, and the reason I say that is because in high school, in the 2013 high school championship, the D2 championship, he ran the open leg for the relay team. So they got a couple of speedsters. So defensively, Justin, how do they adjust to such a quick and elusive wide receiving core?
So it's interesting because I've watched back a couple of our games that have been archived on the live stream, and what is interesting to me is that Moorpark's defense, they're pretty good against the run, and the short pass game is covered pretty well. The tough part is, you talked about the speed, they can get beat pretty deep very easily. So it's going to be up to Moorpark to try and stay with these receivers for the majority of the game, try and stay, and Drew Mathis and Ivory Jackson, they usually cover the run, but they may have to drop back in coverage as extra defenders today to try and cover that speed that we've just discussed.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And another thing I think that should be noted here is the specialties in the Moorpark has really started to pick up here. Riley Garrett's been back a couple of weeks now. He was injured in the beginning of the year. He's been making some of these field goals. He's been a lot more on target. So it seems that if there was ever a time for Moorpark to come in with a victory, it starts tonight. They got their quarterback, Ethan Polster, back. Riley Garrett's been healthy. The defense is probably the most sound thing on this team. So overall, what are you guys predicting to see in tonight's game?
Well, one thing that you were mentioning, Riley Garrett, Justin and I were actually covering that game against El Camino College, and Riley Garrett was just on fire. A 49-yard field goal kick, it was made. I mean, it was just incredible, because just to see a guy with that leg last season he set 2 records for his own personal record, and then he just hit a 49-yarder this year, which is just incredible, which is his career high. But those are going to have to be on point. One thing I want to point out against for College of the Canyons, the Cougars defense. Cougars defense, they're led by 2 guys, is both their linebackers, and they have 41 tackles and 29 tackles apiece. Everybody else has less than 20 tackles. There's going to be 2 guys to watch out for, so make sure that you watch out for that middle linebacker, just that linebacker core for the Cougars.
Interestingly enough, I'm interested to see how our special teams, how Moorpark special teams unit does today. A couple weeks ago, you and I had covered the game on the road, and there was a lot of miscues and miscommunication between the special teams unit. Also, due to this weather, it is a lot cooler tonight. So I'm interested to see what the passing game is going to look like, because this weather could affect the way the football might be thrown today. So that's going to be interesting.
All right, and at this time, we're going to thank you again for tuning to the Mike Stewart pregame show. Brought to you by the Moorpark Center for Dentistry, changing the way you feel like a dentist like no one else. And we'll be back with you in just a few short minutes, so stay tuned in.
Special presentation will be taking place a little bit closer to the start of the game, so please carry on.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome back to your Moorpark Raider pregame show. We actually just finished that up right now. What we have going on here is we are waiting just a few short moments until the Moorpark Raider versus the Cougars game kicks off today. And welcome back, everybody, to your Moorpark Raiders live game of the night. We have a 7 o'clock game here on a Thursday night at Griffin Stadium. The Moorpark Raiders are going to be hosting the College of the Canyon Cougars. It's going to be shaped out for one of the most anticipated and most exciting games that we've seen so far this year. Alongside me, I have my color commentators, Ryan Ketchum and Justin Boris, and I am here, your play-by-play commentator, Nick Federico. Tonight is supposed to be playing out as one of the best games that we've seen this far. There is a couple of things to keep in mind as we watch this game. For one, it is a Thursday night game, so that might have an impact on how both teams play, especially the Cougars, considering that they've only had 4 to 5 days to prepare for the Moorpark Raiders. The Moorpark Raiders, on the other hand, are coming off a bye week, so though it's a short week, it's almost like it's a lot longer of a week for them because they had twice as long to prepare for this game, even though it's been a short week. It's also a little bit colder than we're used to here at Moorpark, so that could have some key components in how this game is played out. But ultimately, look to see an exciting, clean playing football game tonight. Yes, absolutely, Justin. It is going to be an interesting game. You know, we talked about a couple athletes on both sides of the ball here. Of course, on the Moorpark Raiders sideline, we have athletes such as Drew Mathis, who actually we didn't talk about in the pregame show, but actually has gotten offers from TCU, a very highly prominent college here. And, you know, a couple other athletes, Ivory Jackson, a bounce back from Texas Tech. Offensively, we have athletes such as Vinny Corso. The list goes on and on. Ryan Matlock, Kyle Peterson. But when we talked about the College of the Canyon Cougars, they have some athletes themselves. Actually, some new faces to the Cougars. Wyatt Eggett, who actually just stepped in to start his last game last week, went 19 for 34 and threw a couple of touchdowns with only one interception. So some new faces here on the Cougar sideline as well that's going to be starting for tonight's game. So what are you guys looking to see how Moorpark can capitalize on a new young quarterback such as Wyatt Eggett for the Cougars?
One thing that I would like to see out of Moorpark College's defense is to make sure that they are able to have some containment. Always when you're going up against a new quarterback, you don't know how they're going to be the play style, so always have containment. Always make sure that you're going up the sides, the D ends. We have great outside linebackers, great edge rushers, so make sure that you do that first, but put the pressure on the quarterback. Make sure that they know who Moorpark College defense is, Drew Mathis, Ivory Jackson, some of these big guys. Make sure that they know who your guys are, who your studs are, and put the pressure on them. Send a message early on. You're going up against a top 5 team in the state, currently ranked number 2 in the state of California. So make sure that you put the pressure on and show them who Moorpark is about, and you're not going to lay down with just a 1-4 record. You're going to get a second win.
If we were talking about, as you said, the pressure. If you're COC, that means you want to exploit, as we said in the pregame show, the deep ball, because you're going to be bringing extra people on a rush, which means your corners are going to have to play one-on-one coverage deep in the territory there. So if you're COC on offense, I know this may be a lot to ask for a quarterback that's coming just in, starting his second game, throwing 2 touchdowns and a pick, but that would be the best way to exploit your game today.
Yes, absolutely. You got to capitalize on all sorts of cylinders and find those key weaknesses for COC. As long as for the Raiders, you obviously in the game. We're going to take a moment of silence for a quick second, folks.
Will you please bow your heads in a moment of silence? Thank you. At this time, we ask you to direct your attention to midfield, where Moorpark College captains will be giving a special presentation to the
And we're right back to it. All righty, guys. Well, just in a few short minutes here, we'll be ready to have this kickoff start in just about 1:40 left on the clock until we have the opening kickoff. It's going to be exciting here. We have a decent amount of fans here in the stands tonight, and we're looking to see a great game tonight.
And one thing I'd like to point out as well, obviously with it being October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you see the cheerleaders, if we are going to be seeing them in this game, the cheerleaders have pink pom-poms. They have pink bows in their hair as well. Many of the athletes, including number 19, Ivory Jackson, and a few guys like number 22, DJ Turner, have pink all over their body, supporting that great cause against breast cancer awareness and trying to defeat such a beast. So it's great to always have a month like this and seeing the colors. And you probably also saw it in the pregame show with Justin wearing the pink shirt, myself with the pink tie, and representing a little bit.
It's important to do that. I mean, I personally have been affected by this. My family has been affected by this. So it's very important to not only showcase it, but showcase it in such a way that gets people to take action against it. And You know, it's very important for survivors, for those going through it, and for those affected by it as well.
Absolutely. It's great to see an entire sport take part for an entire month to donate, money, time, and effort towards such a great cause.
One thing that's also great to see as well is knowing that you have a support group, knowing that you have people around you that will support you through this, people going through it, people that have been affected by it personally, and people that just know of someone that had to go through this atrocity. So just knowing you have a support group can mean so much for you. So it's great that we have this cause.
Absolutely. And as the game is about to start here, it looks like the Moorpark Raiders won the toss, but they did defer. So coming out first, the kickoff team for the Moorpark Raiders will start this game off. Number 5 for the Moorpark Raiders coming off to kick here for the Moorpark Raiders is going to be
Landon Alatorre, I
Landon
believe.
Alatorre. Thank you, sir.
Interesting to see that. At least I think it might be Mokshian actually coming out, but Landon Alatorre was out there.
Maybe trying to confuse the other special teams unit before the game starts, trying to throw a little different curveball at them before the game gets underway.
And that's actually going to be Juan Arguero coming out to kick. We have not seen him up to this point in the season, so maybe trying something new here for the Moorpark specialties.
That's very interesting. As we get to the midway point of the season, they may want to get other people playing time, get them involved in the game as we go along. So we'll see how this goes.
It's going to be a shallow kick here to about the 35-yard line. Not a fair catch. He's going to be taken down maybe a yard after the catch here. It's a nice little pooch kick. Moorpark starts off just, pinning them in the corner towards the hash right there, not trying to give up any early kick returns. We have seen the Moorpark team do that a couple of times this year. So playing a little bit more conservative. Coming up right now, we have the Moorpark defense stepping onto the field.
And it's interesting because it gives them the option to get the kick or to get the ball in the second half, which is also very important. As we look at a coin toss, whatever you do with that coin toss could set up the rest of the game. So as far as a game plan might go, so that's very important to note.
Absolutely. All right, we got a 1st and 10 here on the 40-yard line in a single set back formation. He's going to drop back, pitch it to his right side. Number 7 is going to come all the way to the corner, only going to get about 2 to 3 yards there. That was number 7 on the carry for the Cougars. Foster Carter right there coming off the edge.
And that was a great job by Jalen Turner, number 9, and number 33, Elisha Aaron, making sure that they stay on the side, making sure that they are aware of who has the football. I mentioned containment. Part of containment as well is for the runs. If you have the defensive ends going straight up the field and not inside, you're going to be able to stop a run.
So he's going to drop back here. He's going to air it out way deep downfield, just overthrew him. And that's going to be incomplete. Triple covered right there. Wyatt Elliott just kind of let it fly right there. The kid has got a cannon, as we saw right there. He's going to throw it all the way down to about the 15-yard line, but it's going to be incomplete.
Well, one of the reasons for that, we talked about the pregame show, they are trying to set up their game plan. And I believe that game plan is to try and throw it deep and try and get their speedy receivers who can outrun Moorpark's defenders.
And we're coming up to a 3rd and 6 right here. Huge 3rd and 6 if Moorpark's able to come away with a 3 and out. And it looks like to be there's some flags, a little bit of movement there on the offensive line. False start offense right there. That's going to take them back about 5 yards. Nice discipline for the Moorpark defense. So this is going to take them to a 3rd and 12, setting up in a completely different game plan. 3rd and 12 compared to a 3rd and 7 compared to a 3rd and 12.
One thing I do want to mention about that previous play, the deep ball with triple coverage, College of the Canyons had a step on our DBs, so I would throw that anytime as well, even though it was in triple coverage.
Absolutely. Looks to go with the option, kind of give it out to Carter right there. He's going to get to the outside, but gain of nothing right there. Actually, he's going to lose a yard or 2. Great job of the Moorpark defense, flooding all 11 halves of the ball on that one.
Moorpark, one of their calling cards is their speed on the edge. They've been able to exploit that so far. I think that College of the Canyons might have been playing field position there at a 3rd and 12. At this point in the game, it's very early, so they're trying to feel out Moorpark's defense before they make any moves going forward.
And one thing I liked, Gianni DiOrienzo came on a cornerback blitz. One thing that you might see is a few defensive schemes that we haven't seen this season against a team like the Cougars.
Tanner Brown here to punt here. Going to have a nice kick to it. And right there, Vinny Korska is going to fair catch that right there at about the 31-yard line. So Moorpark's going to take over at the 31-yard line.
And who is QB at this current point in time? We spoke about the injuries a couple weeks ago. We weren't sure how Moorpark was going to move forward, but it appears Postler is in at QB, so look for him to try and rebound off his injury and trying to establish a rhythm early on.
Absolutely. We got a single set back here, wing side to the left. Ethan Postler back in the first game since being injured. And a flag's going to come late after the play. Archibald was able to pick up about 5 or 6 yards on that. Archibald, probably the most speedy receiver for this Moorpark running back core.
If we continue to see that defensive scheme, they actually had 5 on the line. They had an edge rusher in. That was number 31, Tyler Richardson, but they ran straight up the middle to be able to evade that tackle for loss.
It looks to be a unnecessary roughness call, or personal, unnecessary roughness. Going to bring them back 15 yards. What we've seen time and time again from these Moorpark Raiders is a lot of times, they get a little bit wild up and they get these unnecessary flags. If they want to win tonight, they cannot be receiving these penalties.
Yeah, it's something that has, in all reality, plagued them for the entire season. Penalties on big plays, small plays, that they have had trouble cleaning up throughout the year.
And it's going to be a 1st and 10 here now on the 16-yard line, pardon me. Single set back. Postler's going to hit a deep, and a deep hit right there. No flags on the play. Number 89 for the Moorpark Raiders took a shot. Luckily, he's able to come up on his own 2 feet. That was Louis St. Pierre, the 6'4", 220 tight end from Fullerton, actually.
That was Shadrick Lowry Jr., number 1, coming up with the big hit. One thing that you want to do as a quarterback, you don't want to throw your wide receiver into a bad position when you see right in the middle of the field. But as that did happen right there, I mean, he probably trusted him because he was the big tight end, but still a big hit that Shadrick Lowry Jr. was able to put on him.
I think regardless of whether or not that ball was caught, the hit would have been jarring in any event.
Ethan Postler backed up again. He's going to throw over to the right side. Unfortunately, not able to come away with it. Took another big hit there.
And COC, these first couple plays, they are playing extremely physical. Hard hits, hard runs to the receivers. Looks like they're trying to be aggressive early.
And I think that's the kind of reputation that they've built here. I mean, once you become 5-0, 6-0, top 3 ranked team in California, you expect nothing less from a defense like that. So this is going to bring us up to a 3rd and 25 here, pinned up on their own 16-yard line.
Look for a possible screen in this situation with the amount of yardage.
They got a trip to the wide side of the field here. Ethan Postler back, single set back. Also on the bottom of the screen here, we have Curtis Couillard.
They didn't pay attention to the play clock right there. It went all the way down to 0.
And that's what Justin was just talking about right now. These penalties are what's going to kill you. You can't have these early penalties, especially after your defense gives you that momentum. Moorpark's now looking at a 3rd and 31 from the 11-yard line.
And that responsibility usually falls to the quarterback. They pay attention to the clock. They're supposed to be able to read their snap count and be aware of the clock at the same time.
So a 3rd and 30 here on the 10-yard line, pardon me. Ethan Postler back, trip set on the wide side. He's just going to hand it off here. He's going to cut up the middle, get about 5 to 10 yards, and he's going to be taken down right at the 21-yard line.
And that's sort of an improvement in field position for a punt. When you have that kind of yardage, to pick up a first down in that scenario is, in all reality, very unlikely. So it is improvement in field position for Gomez, who has a very big leg, as we've seen throughout this year.
And especially like a guy like Gomez, you don't want to back him up in his own end zone. Obviously, you can still kick it 50-plus yards, but you don't want him in his own end zone. So that play, as you mentioned, Justin, a good play call. And it kind of caught the defense off guard as he was able to run straight up the middle.
Stephen Gomez here. They have some extra protection here for this punt. Nice boom and kick. Going to carry all the way to about the 30-yard line. Get a nice middle bounce and going to be stopped by Will Boucher on the 26-yard line.
And wow, we mentioned a big leg, but putting it all the way inside their own 30-yard line. I mean, wow, Stephen Gomez, have yourself a day.
Well, and you know how you could see that? You saw the returner go backwards as if he misjudged where the ball was going to end up, which is very interesting to see.
And one thing that you notice whenever people are returning punts against Steven Gomez, they're already 50-plus yards back, and he still had a backup.
Right.
It's not like he was 30
correct.
yards back.
Yes, right.
Exactly.
That's correct.
1st and 10 here. They're going to fake the handoff, throw it on the swing pass, but he's going to be tackled right behind the line of scrimmage. Great execution, way to read the play all the way in as the Moorpark defense was able to come away with that.
That was Landon Alatorre, number 5, with the tackle. Great job by him. He's one of the sophomore captains on this team, and he shows you why he's a captain because of his vision. He was able to see the play the whole way.
That is a perfect open field tackle, basically textbook.
It's going to be 2nd and 13 from the 26-yard line. He's going to drop back here, trips on his right side, hit the little check down. Number 7 coming across, getting upfield, just out of bounds, 3 yards shy of the first down. That was number 7 for the Cougars, Foster Carter. Early on in this game, it seems so far, Justin and Ryan, that Carter has definitely been the guy to go to in these first couple drives here. I don't know if that's something to play out later on in the game.
Well, it appears, at least on that last play, that again COC wanted to go deep. And it appears that's where he was looking, but because of the coverage, he had to dump it underneath. Good move there, pick up a big chunk of yardage, set up a 3rd and manageable here.
And that's always a great job to go to your check down when there's nothing else open. So it's going to be a 3rd and 2 here on the 35-yard line. He's going to pitch it to the left side. Carter coming in and just barely gets past that first down, but there is a flag on the play by the 40-yard line.
Penalties on both sides early.
And these are little penalties that can be taken back. You could be able to correct them looking at the play clock, making sure that you don't have a chop block, not going low on the blocks. Just little penalties that you can make sure that you get out in a practice or just staying calm, such as holding right here.
And while we have another break in action, next, coming up, it's going to bring us back to a 3rd and 12. And there's 11 minutes and 14 seconds left on the clock in the first quarter. So it's going to be a 3rd and 12 here. Single set back again. Ewood's going to drop back, some pressure rolling out in the pocket, looking, throws downfield, broken away by the defense. But there is a flag on the 24-yard line. Now, let's see what the flag is going to reveal for us.
It appears as if it was an offsides penalty. That's what I heard. That's 5 yards. It sets up a replay of a 3rd down due to that penalty.
Yeah, some defensive pass interference. It's going to bring that to a 3rd and 7. So it still is 3rd down, but the Cougars are in a lot more manageable situation than they were at a 3rd and 12. Once again, single set back. Dual spread on both sides here. Ewood's going to drop back, air it out downfield. I don't know. Looks like he overthrown between 2 targets there. Number 29 of the Cougars looked to be the intended receiver. Alonzo Henderson, or Alzan Henderson, pardon me, was looked to be the intended receiver, but incomplete. So 2 3 and outs right off the bat. The Moorpark defense hasn't looked this good since week 3 when they were able to come away with a victory against the Gonchos.
Well, going back to that play, it looked like number 19, Junpei Dobashi, was open over the middle. And again, as you said, it appeared that he was not open, or I'm sorry, was open, but he looked to go deep.
And a booming punt. That's going to have some hang time on it, as Corso is just going to fair catch it.
Also, one thing I want to point out as well with Wyatt Agate in the game, Andrew Brito, we were able to see him last season, number 2. He was so good at just manipulating the offense. He was able to get outside of the pocket. He was able to run amok on the defense as well as throwing the ball in the pocket. And it seems like Wyatt Agate, at least right now, he doesn't have the accuracy. He has a few passes that he can complete, but it's only these little check down passes. He's not able to get anything past 10 yards.
Absolutely. And as we come to the end of the, as we start the ball in the second, it's going to be a handoff here coming off the right side, and Archibald's going to take it about 4 or 5 yards. Pardon me on that, getting my words jumbled up just a little bit right there. That's going to take it to a 2nd down in about 7 right there. As Archibald's able to rush for 3 yards up the middle.
And what's interesting here is if they choose to run it up the middle more often, or if they want to go to the outside or maybe mix some short passes in. They might want to confuse the defense a little bit.
It's going to be a 2nd down and 7 here. Polster looking for the snap. Dual set on the left side. He's going to kind of a muff snap. Archibald barely able to take the hand out before he's piled for a loss of 2. They might give him back to the line of scrimmage for forward progress. So no gain on the play there. It actually gained a 1. It's going to be a 3rd and 6 as the Moorpark Raiders look to come out with maybe a different formation to get this first down. Right now, left on the clock, we have 9 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter as we continue this ball game. So a 3rd and 6, Ethan Polster, Archibald in the backfield along with him. Dual set to the left side. We got Vinny Corso and Couillard. Pass broken up. Number 88 for the Moorpark Raiders. The big tight end coming in right there.
Yeah, St. Pierre.
St. Pierre, Lou St. Pierre, pardon me, number 89, I should say, just off the fingertips. So that's 2 3-and-outs for both teams. Defensively, both teams have been playing outstanding.
And that's the game plan for Moorpark's offense pretty much all year. Those short passes to the sideline, it looked like they may have been confused as to who was running what route on that play.
So a 4th and 6, and no one else you want punting the ball than Steven Gomez, the booming kicker, or punter, I should say. Gonna have a nice hang time on it. Gonna take this one out. Number 4 cuts back to the left side, only able to pick up about 5 or 6 yards before he's gang tackled.
And at that point, I think COC realized how big of a leg that Gomez has, and they waited on that kick.
Well, we have a quick break in action. I just want to thank some of our sponsors here. The U.S. Army. Go on business trips with a company like no other. U.S. Army. Big Brand Tires and Service. Big Brand Tires and Service. Big means go. Proud corporate partner of Moorpark College Athletics. Rise up. Wells Fargo Bank. Wells Fargo is recommitting to help all of our customers succeed financially. Wells Fargo, established in 1852. Reestablished in 2018. Alrighty, so we have a 1st and 10 here. Ball on the, looks to be the 37-yard line. Trip set to the left side. He's going to hand it off to Carter, and he's going to take down after maybe a gain of just 1 yard right there.
Able to plug the middle very easily. This defense is very stout against the run.
Yes, this defensive line for Moorpark has been outstanding all year. Ivory Jackson, a couple others. Drew Mathis, who actually plays linebacker, but definitely fills in at the D-line position when you need him to, has been stepping up. I mean, they've been incredible throughout the year. So we are looking at a 2nd and 9 here. A gets back. He's going to motion him across. Going to fake them handoff. Looking, he's going to air it out. And he's going to hit number 29 going deep. He's on the 40-yard line, cutting across field. Cutting up across. And he's going to take a massive hit. And they're going to stop that after a gain of what looks to be about 35 yards.
And that was a great pass right there from the quarterback as well. We haven't seen too many great passes today so far by Agate, but why Agate? He was able to hit his guy, and he was able to get down the field. He was able to get it right past the first line of the defense, which was great.
It looks to be an offsides. That's going to bring him back, so that massive gain is actually going to be taken away right there. So all that for nothing, and that's going to bring up a 2nd down and 15.
But just to go back to that play, it seemed like there was miscommunications on Moorpark's defense because they had 2 defenders going to 1 receiver, which left the opening down the field.
False start. It looks to be, or pardon me, maybe a neutral zone infraction. Defensive line all look to jump at the same exact time. There is going to be a flag on the play.
One thing that I would make sure to have a point of emphasis with Agate is, even though that play was called back, look at that play. He was able to hit his receiver in a position where he's behind the first line of the defense. That's a good sign if you're COC. Make sure that you keep doing that.
And the ball was also placed in a position where he can run as soon as he catches it.
Exactly.
Which is very important as well.
Absolutely. Hitting him on the stride. Not most quarterbacks can do that. So it's actually going to be a 2nd and 9 instead of what we'd say a 1st and 10 with a 30-yard gain. Instead, it's just going to be a 2nd and 9 with a 1-yard gain. Agate back in the shotgun formation, trips on the left side. He's going to pump back, hit him on the comeback route. He's going to break a tackle, break another tackle, and push just for the first down. That was a heck of a play by the Cougars wide receiver. Number 9 coming up with that play. That was Brandon Pierce, who we were talking about during the pregame show, actually ran in the Division II championship for his high school, the opening leg of the relay. That kid has wheels and definitely has the strength to break a couple tackles. So great play, great effort, and that's the reason why COC was able to get the first down. We're looking at a new first down on the 47-yard line. He's going to hand it off to Carter again, break a tackle or two, and he's going to be taken down after just a gain of 2 yards.
And it appears early that Moorpark is playing zone in a lot of cases on the passing game. They're trying to give COC maybe some cushion on the edge.
And Drew Mathis, as you see right here, number 2, he did get his helmet off. He has to sit out for a play. But Drew Mathis has an Illinois offer, UNLV offer, and just got a TCU offer the other day.
Yeah, Drew Mathis and Ivory Jackson are probably the 2 stars defensively. They're getting looked at the most with these D1 offers, but this entire defense has been playing outstanding. Nice play right there, coming up, saw it the whole way. Going to be taken down, number 33, Dylan Chong, coming up with the play.
And just to piggyback off your point, Ryan, that's sometimes the point of a junior college moment for these guys, is that it gives them an opportunity to get playing time and to get recognition for their efforts.
And recognition for your efforts, as you said, that's one of the reasons why they go, to make sure that they're able to get that Division I scholarship that they didn't get in high school. So it's just great to see Drew Mathis getting that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew Mathis, Ivory Jackson, some of these defensive players here all playing outstanding, but those 2 in particular have been playing lights out this entire season. So this is going to bring us up to a 3rd and 5 here. While we have a little break in action, we're going to thank a couple more of our sponsors. We cannot do any of this without you. We want to thank UCLA Health, a proud sponsor of Moorpark College Athletics. With neighborhood offices in Simi Valley, Porter Ranch, Thousand Oaks, and Westlake Village, the very best care is now closer to you. UCLA Health, it begins with you. Harley Simi Bowl is your home for Moorpark College Raiders Athletics, offering bowling, billboards, arcade, and rock and roll pizza. Full service sports lounge featuring Raiders happy hour every night from 9 p.m. to 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., except on weekends. Cosmic College Night bowling is Thursday. All you can bowl for $8, 9 p.m. to midnight. And while we're back from that break, we're going to get right back to it with a 3rd and 5 coming up here. They get in the shotgun once again. Seems that they've been going with this all game. Doesn't like to go under center very often. Going to take the snap. Look, a quick read to his left. He's going to air it out. And number 5 for the Cougars was able to come away with that catch. Nice grab to pick up the first down and keep the change moving. That was Demarius August, the wide receiver out of Apoca, Florida, with a great snag for a first. Pardon me, he dropped that pass. That's going to be a 4th and 5.
And that was great coverage. Braxton Rogers, number 21, one of the corners that we saw last season showcase, not as much this year. He was able to make a nice break on the ball. He saw that the quarterback's eyes were all over that wide receiver. It was basically painted on that wide receiver, so he was able to cut that route off and be able to break it up.
Absolutely. And Tanner Brown back to punt once again. Very much a defensive game so far tonight, guys. Shallow kick, but a high kick. Going to have a lot of hang time to it. Corso is just going to fair catch that. And that's going to be taken right there at about the 17, 16-yard line as the Moorpark Raider offense comes back onto the field. And while we have just a couple more minutes, we're going to thank a couple more of our sponsors. Couldn't do it without you guys. Moorpark Center for Dentistry, changing the way people feel about going to the dentist every single day. Moorpark Center for Dentistry loves supporting our community. DCH Lexus of Oxnard, proudly supporting education in Moorpark College football. Lexus, experience amazing. All right, this is going to take us to a 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. Ethan Polster back in the shotgun formation. We have a single set back right there. He's going to drop back, throw a quick out to his right. Underthrew Curtis Cooleyard right there, kind of threw it behind his body, not able to hit any receiver, pardon me. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
It appeared that the route, based on where the quarterback threw, he was not in communication with the receiver.
Yes, it definitely seems that there is a little bit of communication misunderstanding. All right, so that's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 here. Ethan Polster back out in the shotgun. We got a bunch set to the left side here. ISO to the right, Curtis Cooley to the right. He's going to hand it off, though, and he's going to take a hit. Number 27 is going to pounce, keep going, and he's going to pick up a nice chunk of yards. That might be one of the greatest plays that we've seen offensively from the Moorpark Raiders all year.
Wow.
That was number 27, someone that we haven't talked about too much. Alex Tilley just took a shot, did a spin move, and was able to pick up another 15 yards. That is exactly why they teach you in football to wrap up and drive. You saw right there, laid a nice hit on the Cougars did, wasn't able to knock him down. He's going to get the ball again and maybe take it for a yard.
And that play right there was almost kind of Le'Veon Bell-esque. He's a power back, and he just took a hit and was able to keep on moving. See if they can have more success today with the running game.
All right, it's going to be a 2nd and 9 coming up. And right here we have Ethan Poster with the shotgun. He's going to be stuffed right behind the line there for a loss of 3 yards.
And COC read that play pretty much perfectly. They jumped the snap almost immediately, knew what the play was going to be, and basically destroyed that play before it even begun.
Absolutely blew it up before it could even get back to the line of scrimmage. So we're looking at a 3rd and 13 here from the 37-yard line.
One thing that's interesting, we haven't seen too much of Kyle Peterson, number 13. He just entered the game once again, but not too much action from him.
And they got a bunch set stacked on both sides here. Single set back. Poster going to look back, drop. Pressure, able to avoid, but it's going to overthrow his receiver there on that play. Unfortunately, wasn't able to come away with a completion, and that's actually going to force a 4th and 13. Just seemed to overthrow Alex Sardi there, the wide receiver out of Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Well, that's a perfect example of the pressure affecting the QB, because you don't have to get a sack to force an errant throw in that case.
And it looks like the Moorpark Raiders are going to play conservative with keeping as much protection as they can. Nice booming kick. He's going to take this one out. Number 4 for the Cougars is going to cut all the way to the left side. Alatorre is able to grab him from behind and stop him after a gain of about 10 yards. Number 4 there for the Cougars. That was Leroy Deschazor, pardon me.
Yeah, Deschazor, he was able to get that room on the outside. One of the most important things, especially in punt return or kick returns, is if you're able to get to the outside, you have a little bit of an advantage. And if your blockers know exactly where you're going, you have that advantage. And he was able to get pretty good amount of yards off of that punt return just getting to the outside there.
Well, and in this case, he reversed field. You see where he started, he didn't see a hole, so he cut back to the other edge to try and see some more daylight as well.
So it's going to bring up a 1st and 10. They're going to motion across, fake this handoff. Wyatt Agnett's going to throw it deep, a deep ball, broken up by Jalen Turner. No flags, just great coverage, clean play.
One of the reasons why it was great coverage, Jalen Turner, number 9, he actually turned his head. He looked where the football was. It probably would have been called pass interference if he did not look exactly where the football was. He was able to stay toe-to-toe with the wide out, and he was able to turn his head. Perfect play right there by Jalen Turner.
Moorpark has passed the test that we discussed about the speed going deep to start this game. They've been able to stay with the receivers, and even if they are undersized, the smarts and the speed help with that.
And it's going to be a 2nd and 10 with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock. Going to hand it off to Carter, who's going to take it for about 2 yards before he's stuffed by the Moorpark defense. That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 7, pardon me.
Number 22, DJ Turner. Dylan Chong as well, number 33. Those are some kind of unsung heroes for Moorpark. We always talk about Drew Mathis and Ivory Jackson, a few of those guys, but those two definitely display great defensive skills, great IQs here from Moorpark Raiders defense.
Wyatt Agnett in the shotgun, dual setback. Going to hand it off there. Going to be stopped. Looks like he's just on the line, right on the marker. Well, see if it looks like they might be moving the chain, so they're going to give him the 1st down. So great run there.
I wasn't sure if they were going to measure at that point. Clearly a 1st down. You saw, I believe Moorpark was playing zone, which also can create a bit more of running room for a run because you're playing back deeper in coverage.
And that was Kenny Torrance on the pickup. 1st down and 10 on the 48 going in. Agnett's going to drop back, scrolling out to his right, looking. Going to try and take off, get the 1st, able to be picked up by the back. They're going to call a horse collar and the helmet's coming off. So there's definitely going to be a flag. They're going to pick up an extra couple yards on that. That was number 58 for the Moorpark Raiders. Kind of getting his hand on the back shoulder there. That was Jordan McBride, the DN, 6'2", 225 out of Rio Mesa.
And that type of play is very dangerous because when you pull like that, you could risk an injury. So that's the reason for the flag in that case as well.
So that's not only going to give him a couple extra yards from the pickup, but also another 15 and a new set of downs. Horse collar, something you don't actually, we haven't seen too much this year. A flag that's not thrown too often, but almost as dangerous as a face mask. Definitely can injure your neck or back. So whenever you see that, you definitely got to throw the flag. But that's going to hurt the Moorpark defense on that one.
It also depends on how you land as well. That could also play into that factor.
Absolutely. So it's going to bring up a 1st and 10 on the 31-yard line going in. There looks to be a little bit of talk between the referees.
2 plays ago, I want to go back to this real quickly. When Torrance had the ball, when he ran straight up the middle, one thing that I saw out of him, he has great vision. Ivory Jackson came off of the left side. He was defensive end, and he went in, and he was right there, ready to be able to tackle Torrance there for a tackle for loss. And obviously, we've seen this season, Ivory Jackson is clearly able to do it. He saw where he was because it looked like he was going to the right side a little bit. Torrance saw exactly where Ivory Jackson was, cut back towards the middle, and was able to get a gain of yards. So great job by him. Great vision to be able to see where their star defensive players are and where they're unblocked.
And after that little talk, it's going to bring up the 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. Wyatt A gets in the backfield, shotgun. Pardon me, that's actually number 12. There does look to be a flag, but that was actually number 12, Michael Wilson, who we haven't seen yet tonight. So maybe there's a little bit of confusion at the quarterback position. Oh, pardon me, he actually came in because Wyatt Edgett's helmet came off. So, of course, the one-play rule.
Well, at least we do know that it is a 15-yard penalty. Moorpark did bring extra guys on that play. They tried to blitz, and that could be problematic for a run, which I think Cerritos has actually played very well today in picking that up on the offensive line.
Absolutely. So basically, that penalty that College of the Canes was given was pretty much just revoked from them. So that's going to bring them to a 1st and 25. Another flag here. It looks to be a false start offensively on number 87.
Pardon me, I think I said Cerritos. I meant COC, ladies and gentlemen. I meant COC.
So another 5 yards. We talk about it so often, but you got to talk about it so often, guys. Penalties just kill teams. I don't care how good you play, how overmatched, or how much of a matchup you have on any team. You can't beat anybody with penalties. We have 2 minutes and 27 seconds left on the clock. Shotgun formation. He's going to hand that off to Wilson. He's going to be taken down after maybe a gain of 1 or 2. That was Mike Anthony Monette with the stop right there.
And Nick, to piggyback off your point, it hurts your offensive play calling because you have a system in place of plays you want to run. And when penalties like that come up, it can throw the whole system into a tailspin in some cases. So that is also why penalties can be so important in a game.
Absolutely. And this is going to bring up a 2nd and 29, only a gain of 1 in the last play. Agat's going to look, some pressure in the pocket, and he's going to go down with a sack right there by number 24 for your Moorpark Raiders. That was Antoine Wynn coming up with a huge stop.
I believe that also was number 94, Jalen Valawaga as well. He's been out there. Obviously, it was 24 coming up with the sack. Valawaga, he's actually out right now, but one of the star defensive linemen out there for Moorpark College.
Absolutely. So it's going to bring a 3rd and 30. Shotgun formation, look to see a deep pass. Or a check down. He's going to hit Wilson right there. Wilson's going to cut back, break a tackle, break another tackle, and he's going to be taken down at the 40-yard line. So Moorpark defense bending but not breaking. Did give up about 15 yards, but that's going to leave it with a 4th down in about 20 yards. So.
And the point of coverage like that is that the point is to make sure they don't pick up the 1st down. So you're not pressuring because you want to be able to have enough back in coverage, and you want to make sure they don't get to the marker. So that's the reason they play so deep.
And Tanner Brown's going to come out once again tonight to punt. Definitely a defensive game all around as we are at 0-0 with just under 40 seconds left in the game. Nice kick. Going to bounce all the way back to the 1-yard line, and they're going to say that it didn't go into the end zone. So the Moorpark Raiders offense is going to have to come out going 97-yard line. At the 3-yard line going 97 yards, pardon me. So the offense is going to have to work with basically the entire field if they want to come away with a touchdown this drive.
And that was a great job by College of the Canyon. COC, it almost looked like they designed that where the punt was going to go up, and they had their returners back quick enough to be able to get it inside the 5-yard line, and they did that masterfully. So great job by them.
And it's an important point that you're allowed to push the ball back from the end zone as a returner.
They're going to have a dual tight end set right here for extra protection. Just going to hand it off to Archibald, and he's going to go down for the safety. The first points of the game are scored on a safety by College of the Canyons, coming up and stopping Archibald in the back of the end zone.
Wow, this game can be very interesting. Who would have thought that the first points of the game would be on a safety of all things? But that is the direct correlation to the fact that they were back at their own 2 or 3 yard line. The fact that they were in their own end zone creates that opportunity.
And who else would have thought to piggyback on what you're saying, Justin? With just 25 seconds left, we almost win a whole quarter without anybody scoring. The first points come, of course, on a safety. So it's not something you see in an everyday football game, but nonetheless, definitely something to be noted.
And one of the interesting things, College of the Canyons, they stuck exactly what they wanted to do. I believe no matter what play Moorpark would have ran in that situation, they would have sent the house. They almost sent the full house right at the running back. Archibald had no chance to be able to get out of there, especially when he has 9 guys chasing him down, even from the start of the snap, not even when he gets the handoff. So Moorpark was just set up in a bad position, but great job. Give credit to College of the Canyons defense, and especially the special teams. Great job to get in their own 5-yard line.
Absolutely. That was a great kick by Tanner Brown to set that defense up in such excellent position. So, of course, with any safety, you do have to punt it off. It's not like a regular kickoff, so it does look that Moorpark Specialties will be punting this ball away here from their own 20-yard line.
And the returners are about 60 yards back with Steven Gomez's leg.
Gomez has the biggest foot in maybe all of the league. And that's going to go right through his hands. That's going to bounce all the way back to, they're going to say that went out of bounds at the 4-yard line. So just like that, almost at a directly opposite transition just happened there on the 4-yard line.
Well, and you know what's very interesting, to be honest? I've always wondered how Gomez is not both the kicker and the punter with his leg. It's very strong, and in that case, we see almost an identical situation. And also, Moorpark probably will bring the house in this case.
And also with that punt, it was in the air for about 58 yards. It landed right around the 22-yard line and started rolling. He punted that football about 58 yards. That's just incredible. But also, as you mentioned, it's the exact same sense. Moorpark had the ball at their own 3-yard line. Now COC has it at their own 3.
And that went right just through the fingertips of Amari Smith's hands, which is the reason why it bounced back all the way to the 4-yard line. So, shotgun formation, single setback. He's just going to try and hand it off. They're going to try and get a yard or two. He's able to stumble to his feet and pick up an extra couple of yards. Stiff arming or putting your hand down is something that's one of the most overlooked aspects in a running back position. Don't you guys think?
Yes, it is. And it's interesting because Moorpark has multiple options at their disposal on defense now because of where they're at in the field.
Absolutely. And while the first quarter is going to come to an end, we're going to thank a couple of our sponsors while we have a minute here. We can do this without you guys. And we just want to thank all of you guys. None of this could be possible without anything. So we want to start by thanking off PennyMac. Let us tackle all your mortgage needs. PennyMac, the lender you can call home. International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. SoCal Life powered for 125 years. IBEW Local number 47 is a proud supporter of the Moorpark College Raiders. DCH Auto Group, delivering customer happiness. Corner Bakery Cafe in Simi Town Center, proud to support Moorpark College football. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, catering. Mercedes-Benz of Thousand Oaks. As a member of the Silver Star Automotive Group, Mercedes-Benz of Thousand Oaks has proudly served Moorpark and the surrounding areas since 1982. Nationwide, our hearts belong to the Raiders. Putting the needs of local communities first isn't just a key to our success. It's the key to everything we do. Let's talk today. Bill Saunders, go Raiders. Matera Designing Consultant. For all your design, layout, and production needs, contact Find Matera at vmatera at earthlink.net. Matera Design Consultant. All right. When we get back to the game here, we're going to start off the second quarter as the Cougars are going to switch to the opposite side of the field, taking the ball on the 6-yard line, it looks to be now. Pardon me, the 7-yard line, as they were able to pick up 4 yards right before half. Waiting just for the whistle here before the quarter starts. Got the okay, and we're ready to go. 2nd and 6, shotgun once again. Quarterback looks. He's going to fake the handoff to a quick slant route. He's going to hit his receiver in stride. Nice save there by number 5, Len Alatorre. If he wasn't able to take down number 88 of the Cougars, that would have been most likely a touchdown. That was Elijah Ebby, the 6'4" wide receiver from Panama City.
And what a pass. That thing zipped in there pretty quick, and it was a very tight window.
Absolutely, and I like one thing that the College of Canes have been doing is they've been mixing the run and pass game perfectly. So we're going to look at a 1st and 10 here on the 25-yard line. Going to have a single set back to his right, trips on the left side, ISO in the top of the field. He's going to pitch it to the left. Wilson's going to try and stiff arm, maybe get an extra 2 yards, and he's able to actually pick up 5 yards. A play that looked to be either a loss or maybe just a gain of 1. Wilson was able to pick up 5 yards as he lowered his shoulder, giving him a 2nd and 5.
On the previous play, that quick slant route pass, one of the things you alluded to, Justin, was that it was in tight coverage, and it was Landon Alatorre, the safety. He is able to read the field so well that he was able to make a cut on the route. So such a great pass to be able to fit it in there while the safety was already coming down.
So a 2nd and 5, trips to the right side, ISO to the left. He's going to hit his receiver once again. Number 80 is going to come upfield, get to about the 50, 49 on the opposite side before he's pushed out of bounds.
And
a couple of flags here, a lot of taunting going on.
And yeah, the sideline is definitely very animated. Interestingly, on that play, I thought most of the defenders near the secondary had their eyes on the quarterback from the majority of that pass, which left the receiver open going to the sideline. They were scanning the QB instead of looking at the receiver.
Both teams have to make sure they keep a cool head. You don't want to have any unnecessary penalties going against you. Obviously, we were able to see it too well since we were on this side of the field.
Correct.
But hopefully both teams are able to make sure that they stay neutral and don't get too hot-headed and are able to stay calm throughout this game.
And I'd like to point out that that penalty was not for any unsportsmanlike conduct at all. It was an unnecessary roughness, which is much different. So let's make that clear. There has been no penalty like that.
So a 1st and 10, he's going to hand off to Wilson again. He's going to take up about 3 to 4 yards before he being stopped. I want to point out something to you guys. That was Elijah Ebby again. On the last 2 passes, he came up for huge first downs, keeping these drives alive and picking up huge gains. So someone we didn't actually talk about too much in the pregame show, but Elijah Ebby is definitely showing up tonight.
And it looks like COC has changed their game plan a little bit. They're not going as deep. They're going for the shallow slant routes in this drive.
Absolutely. Another shotgun, trips to the left. Ebby ISO to the right. Ebby's going to look back. He's going to hit Wilson on the little check down. Wilson's going to pick up a yard and take a hit, and he's going to be stopped 3 to 4 yards after picking up the first down, but nevertheless still able to pick up the first down. Pardon me, that was actually Torrance, not Wilson.
And what you see right there, Justin, what you alluded to, those short pass concepts, had another one right there, the little screen play. That's what you kind of have to do to be able to get your quarterback confidence going. Deep pass plays weren't working in the beginning, switch it up. Now you got the short pass plays marching down the field. Easy, quick switch, and they were able to do it.
Again, the shotgun once again. He's going to drop back and hit a B again. He's going to hit him right before he goes out of bounds. Nice snag. Great job of keeping his hands far away from his body, not letting the defender knock that ball away.
And I believe it was Wynn coming up the middle. He was left uncovered, so it was a big deal that the quarterback was able to get the ball out when he did, or else he would have been probably easily sacked had he not evaded Wynn.
And it now looks in the second quarter that the Cougars are a completely different offense. They've been marching all the way down the field, able to come up with a little bit of momentum at the end of the first quarter. But we do have 12 minutes and 15 seconds left as it's the 2nd and 2. He's going to take the option. He's going to break a tackle, break another, and take it all the way down to the 5-yard line. So Wyatt, again, able to sell the option perfectly, picking up the first down.
And great job by Aga. He was actually able to see where the end was coming from. He was able to see where the defensive pressure was coming from. You always want to look for the edge rushers, the outside linebackers, the defensive ends, exactly where they're going. He was able to see it, and the running back got smothered right when he was going for the handoff, so he was able to take it back and cut it straight up the middle. Great vision by him.
And they're going to have a fullback in this set right here, so maybe look to see a run up the middle. He's going to hand it off right up the middle, and he's going to be stuffed. Gain of nothing right there. Maybe a gain of 1.
This is classic power football. I will say I'm very impressed with the offensive coordinator's ability to mix up the plays that we've seen. We started with some deep balls. We then moved to some slants, and now he's mixed in some option plays. So I like the wide array of options that he has at his disposal.
Absolutely, and they actually put KJ Latou in at fullback. That's their linebacker they got there at playing fullback. So, yes, they are definitely moving around their offensive parts. Can't hand it off. Torrance fake the handoff. Chuck, and he's going to get him in the back of the end zone. Number 4, touchdown for the College of the Canyon Cougars. That was Leroy DeShorzor.
And that was a great job. KJ Latou, one of the things that you saw right there, they had the fake handoff, but Latou, as the fullback position, he faked like he was going to be the lead blocker, and he sold the fake. He went in there 100% and was going straight for linebacker. He was going straight for the linebacker core. Great job by him to sell the fake, not just the running back, but great job by him to sell the fake and make sure that the defense was unaware of a pass going to happen. So great job by him.
Absolutely, and a slant route is so hard to cover, especially in the end zone. That's going to be number 46 once again for the Cougars. That is going to be Tanner Brown able to come away with the field goal, and that's going to give them a 9-0 lead, the Cougars over the Moorpark Raiders. And while we have a quick minute in a break, we're going to thank a couple more of our sponsors here. Could not do without any of you guys, so thank you very much for all the support that you give this Moorpark Raider College and this football team. We want to start off by thanking the Los Robles Health System. 50 years of compassionate care. For more information, please call 877-888-5746 or visit losrobleshospital.com. Moorpark Country Club. Make a trip to Moorpark Country Club. While you're here, be sure to try our Sunday brunch, Moorpark Country Club. Jersey Mike's. Since 1956, supporting the community that supports us. Moorpark College Raider Athletics. Jersey Mike's Subs, a sub above. Listed at 1197 East Los Angeles Avenue in Simi Valley. Jan's Marketplace. Cheers to a successful season. Proudly supporting Moorpark College Athletics. Visit us at Facebook or at jansmarketplace.net for upcoming events on money-saving offers. All right, while we get back to the action, we're going to have exactly 11 minutes left in the second quarter here as the Cougars are able to kick it off to the Moorpark Raiders.
And it's important for Moorpark to respond after a touchdown such as that. Get their offense going here.
Absolutely. Haven't been able to do that too much this year. It's going to be a deep kick from Brown. It's going to go deep down to about the 7-8 yard line. Corso's going to take it out. He's going to cut up, follow his block. He's got a block to the left side. He jumps, but as he jumped, he kind of lost his balance there, so he's down at the 30-yard line. Vinny Corso is so fast, isn't he, guys?
And one of the things that's great to see is Vinny Corso on the returning game again. We've seen in multiple games this season, including against El Camino College, he was out there for the returns, but they are kicking it away from him, or they're kicking it too high that he's not able to get a return. Even on kick returns, as you just saw right there, they try to kick it too far, or they kick it around him. So it's amazing when you get to see Corso do his thing. Last year, he almost took it back for a touchdown, but it called back, as well as right here. You can see his elusiveness. He saw the defender, hurdled him. It's just he could do so much with the football.
It's going to be a 1st and 10. Polster's going to hand it off there. Going to get about 2 to 3 yards before he is stopped on the carry.
And I'd like to piggyback off your point, Ryan. He had daylight. Had he not unfortunately tripped up there, he had daylight to go to the end zone. I mean, there was nobody back for COC to tackle him there. So it was great to see the explosiveness of Corso on that return.
Exactly. The explosiveness is a great way to be able to put it, because right when he gets the football, he puts his head down and he just goes with a full head of steam right in the defense, and it was just great.
So it's going to be another handoff here, maybe to get to about the line of scrimmage, loss of 1. Not much happening on that play. That's going to take us to a 3rd and 8 as they bring in Kyle Peterson and Alex Sardi. So bringing in a new package. looking at more of a more pass offensive package when you see people like Peterson, such as Sardi, jumping in the game.
If it were me, I would try to mix up the play calling a little bit. We've seen a lot of runs up the middle. I would hope that they open up the playbook just a little bit, try and get some deep balls going.
And so that's going to bring us to a 3rd and 8. Polster in the shotgun again. He's going to drop back look. He's going to throw it, but overthrowing Curtis Couillard. I don't think Curtis Couillard was able to see that the ball was coming at that time. Maybe just a little bit of mixed communication or didn't give him enough time to get off his route. But Polster, unfortunately, not able to come away with a completion. And that's going to bring a 4th and 8. And that's going to bring in the booming punter, Steven Gomez.
And to go back to that last play, I think that you were right in saying that he just threw it a little bit early. He didn't let Curtis Couillard get off his break, and that was because of the pressure coming at him. But he did not let Curtis Couillard get off his break, and he wasn't able to complete the post route, so he was not able to be ready for the football.
Steven Gomez, he's going to be blocked. The punt is going to be blocked, as it's going to roll down to about the 46-yard line.
And we saw this actually, I believe, a couple weeks ago. There was also a few punts that were blocked.
They're saying that Moorpark came up with the ball here. They did touch it, which means it is a live ball. So if the refs make the right call here, it does look like it's going to be a Moorpark ball.
And one thing that you will see out of this sideline, the sideline was furious at the Raiders because they weren't diving on the football. They weren't aware that it was blocked. One thing they have to do, you have to have that field awareness. You need to know where the football is, and you need to know what happened to the football. If they would have dove on it, it would have been a first down because it's already past the first down marker, so they would have had the football for Moorpark. Obviously, it looks like they might have still dove on the football, but still, you need to be aware of that, and you need to be able to dive on it.
You need to have, too, it sounds simple, you need to have the football IQ. I don't think that they understood that when the ball was punted that they could jump on the ball right there. So, unfortunately, they weren't able to come away with it. I think maybe just some confusion, maybe from the yelling of their coach. They weren't really sure what was going on. But, yeah, definitely need to be aware when you're blocking punts that as soon as it touches the other team's hand, it becomes a live ball.
Well, and we saw that there were like 3 Moorpark defenders as opposed to 1 COC man there. So they had the numbers advantage as well.
And when you have that numbers advantage, if they have that football IQ plus the numbers advantage as you alluded to, dive on that football and you have that first down.
We got Leroy DeShazer at the left side of the field. Oh, coming out of nowhere. He's going to break a tackle, avoid a sack. You got to give props right there. Ege was about to get demolished by the defensive line of the Moorpark defense, able to stay on his feet somehow and just throw it out of the pocket.
Well, it is important, Nick, you alluded to it earlier, being able to wrap up, being able to not miss a tackle, especially when you had 3 guys and nobody blocking at that point.
And one thing that it seems like could have happened as well, DJ Turner, he usually is great at tackling, but it was a quarterback. I'm wondering if he went for the upper body because of the quarterback and he didn't want to get a roughing the passer call or anything like that.
Correct.
And they're going to motion over to the left side, pull a safety away. And Eget's going to air it out once again on the money. A dime. A beautiful thrown pass from 45 yards out for a touchdown by the Cougars. That might be one of the best passes, touchdowns we've seen all year, guys.
And there we see the game plan work to perfection. The receiver had a step, and the ball was it was a rainbow, placed perfectly in the pocket for the touchdown.
And that's what you want to do, as you mentioned, it was a rainbow. It wasn't a wounded duck. You don't want to have a wounded duck throw where it's just kind of flopping in the air. He was able to get the nice rainbow, the nice little touch, and put it in the basket for the wide receiver.
And the Cougars are going to go up 15-0 with 9 minutes left in the game. Make that 16-0 with 9 minutes left in the second quarter. Yeah, that's one of the nicest thrown balls I've seen so far this year. That was on the dime. You saw it hit him right in the pouch. Didn't have to reach out for it, didn't have to slow his speed, hit him in stride. That's exactly what you need from your starting quarterback.
And Ryan and Nick, there's 2 types of throws as an analyst that I would look for. The rainbow that we've just seen, or a bullet or a seam over the middle, if they like the window pass we saw earlier in this game. That was a bullet that was fit right in the pocket in between the 2 defenders. So those are the 2 passes that if you're a coach or an analyst, as we look at it, those are what you like to see out of a quarterback.
You know what I want to see out of Moorpark's defense is to be able to switch it up. You see, whether it's zone coverage, whether it's man coverage, they're backing up. They're sagging off of the wideouts, and every single time it's man coverage, they're sagging off about 5 yards. Have some press defense. Get up in their grill, because if you lay off, they're going to get those quick, easy routes, which set up their move way down the field, and then they hit you with the deep ball. Take away that short pass game. Let them try to hit you deep. At least you can take that part away. Don't get diced up short and deep.
Exactly. You got to capitalize on the mistakes. So they're going to kick the ball off here. It's going to be Tanner Brown once again from the 35. Ball's going to drop to about the 13-yard line. Vinny Corso's going to take it out once again. He's going to cut to the left side, get around the corner, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds around the 27-yard line. So nice, decent return of about 20 yards, and that's going to put the Moorpark Raiders on the 27-yard line.
And Ryan, I want to ask you a question. Do you think that might be because they're trying to compensate for the speed advantage?
And that's definitely a good point. It could be from the speed. They're sagging off a little bit, and they're making sure that they at least can stay toe-to-toe with the wideouts somewhat when they go deep down the field. But I think maybe just make sure that you have kind of cover 2 man defense, having those safeties back, and then having those having the cornerbacks have some press defense so you can't give up those short passes.
Okay.
I think that would be a good switch.
And for the first time tonight and this season, Troy Smith is in the game. We have not seen him all year. He was actually a redshirt until he came out of redshirting to have an opportunity to start. I think maybe one of the motives was when Bryce Fiole went down, he might have realized that he had a better opportunity to get a chance to play. So tonight we obviously see him playing. He was redshirting, but he's obviously in the game tonight. So definitely looks like Moorpark's going back to that 2-quarterback rotation we saw them against Cerritos.
And not just Fiole, but Pulsar as well, who was also hurt. When you have those 2 quarterbacks down, you have to bring the redshirt off, which is an unfortunate situation because it gives him a year. But in that situation, you need to have enough quarterbacks.
He's going to hand that to Archibald. He's going to gain him about 2 to 3 yards before he's stuffed by the defensive line. Number 95 of the Cougars coming up with that tackle. That was Jack Schultz, 6'2", out of Granada Hills.
And as you were alluding to, Justin, when we did cover the El Camino College game, Troy Smith went in for a series, and he was not that productive. But since they only had Vinny Corso at the quarterback, that was the only other quarterback that they had that was available. So taking him out of the redshirt year, I also was speaking to a few of the coaches today that they said during practices this week, Troy Smith has been very confident, and he's been showing that he can lead the offense. So you'll probably see a little bit more of number 10 out on the field.
So we got a trips to the left side. Boucher ISO to the right. He's going to throw it out of the pocket. Rush. Looks to be caught, but it might have been out of bounds, so it might just be a 4th and 7 here. We'll see what the ref's call is.
Lucky break for Moorpark's offense. A very anticipated route by the corner. To piggyback off your point, one thing you don't want to risk, as we saw Corso at QB, is an injury for him because he's primarily a wide receiver, and he's the number 1 option. So as other quarterbacks come in, you don't want to risk having what may be perceived as a sure-handed receiver getting hurt in that moment in time.
Exactly. You want to have, he's a return man, he's a receiver, you can put him at anything.
He punted as well.
Exactly. Yeah, he punted.
Steven Gomez, another booming kick, and to take it all the way down to about the 30. He did not fair catch that, so that's a clean tackle. Will Boucher stopping him as soon as the ball came down in his hands. Clean.
And that's a good point that you alluded to, as there's a penalty flag down at the 40-yard line. But as you alluded to, he even did punt the football. If you saw the game against El Camino College, he could basically do everything on the football field. So if you have a guy like that go down with injury, thankfully, if you're a Moorpark College fan, he is not down with injury. He's
Correct.
still healthy.
Yes,
but you don't want to put him in a situation where he could get more damage.
Well, and it gives the new quarterback, Smith, reps, which is important as well. I mean,
Number 11 of the kicking team, the 15-yard foul will be marched off from the end of the run. First down.
quick pause for the penalty there. I wanted to finish by saying, once you take him off the red shirt, you might as well use him. You might as well continue to use him because now you have an extra person to utilize.
Yeah, and that looks to be a face mask call right there. It's from the Cougars, so that's going to be enforced. Pardon me, for the Raiders. So that's going to be enforced from the spot of the ball. So from the 15, they're now looking to be on about the 50-yard line. So another mistake from the Moorpark Raiders with another penalty costing them more yardage. It is going to bring up a first down on the 45-yard line, pardon me. Agat's going to check back to the coach, maybe switch audible or something. Gets the hand signal. Notifies the offensive line. He's going to hand it off to the left side to Torrance. He's going to get taken down once again. Nice job of the defensive line, and that was actually Carter, pardon me, on the run. Nice job of the defensive line, able to stop him. Looks to be 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
One thing that I alluded to in the pregame show, containment by the defense, I alluded to a little bit earlier. You saw DJ Turner right there. He had the containment. He was able to get to the outside. You can't really – this Moorpark run defense, it's a good run defense, especially if you try to get to the outside. If you don't have that killer speed, as we haven't seen tonight out of COC, he's going to get you, and he's going to tackle you every time.
Going to motion him across, bring everybody inside. He's going to drop back, look. Flushed out of the pocket. He's going to roll right and hit his receiver for a gain of about 6 to 7 yards.
Ryan, I wanted to piggyback off your point. From the quarterback, as I was watching that play, it didn't seem like he sold it all that well. Usually what a quarterback would do is when he hands it off like that, he would turn the other way and try and fake a pass. And in that case, I didn't see that. Also on that play, the speed on an open field tackle right there, very important for Moorpark's D.
And that was Demarius August on that catch to bring up a 3rd and 10 now for the Cougars. Trips on the left side, ISO'd on the right, single set back shotgun formation. Haggett's going to drop back, look again. Pick up the first down, maybe just a yard, unless they say that the forward progress in the count. It does look to see that he might have got the first down here, depending on the spot of the ball. There is 6 minutes and 17 seconds left as we go into the second quarter here.
And it appears that they
roughing the passer.
I will change my statement due to that penalty. I wasn't sure if he was going to pick up the first down regardless. I wasn't sure where they would mark him due to forward progress, but that penalty negates it to begin with. We've seen it all day. Really on both sides, penalties have hurt both teams in this game.
And that's essentially a 30-yard pickup by the Cougars because they picked up about 15 on the play, 10 to 15 on the play, and then another 15 added on to that.
And what viewers have to remember is that penalty yardage is added on to the end of a play. It is not a substitute for the play.
That's correct. So this is going to bring us up to a 1st and 10 on the 31-yard line. He's going to motion across, bring him right back over. Timeout called. It's going to be a timeout called by the Cougars with 5 minutes and 47 seconds left. And while we have a timeout and a break in action, we're going to want to thank a couple of our sponsors. We could not do it without you guys. We're very appreciative of everything that you guys do for this Moorpark College football team. And we want to start by thanking the Hat Restaurant in Simi Valley since 1951. 67 years of serving the world-famous pastrami, burgers, dogs, chili. Open 7 days from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. www.thehat.com. Ladin Auto Group, family-owned and operated for over 45 years. Always close to home, located in the Thousand Oaks Mall. Go Raiders. Best wishes for a great year. London Hyundai Subaru. Stonefire Grill, where community is served. Proudly supporting Moorpark College Athletics. Stonefire Grill. For all your catering needs, go to 805 SFG to go or order stonefiregrill.com. Go Raiders. All right, we're going to get right back to the action here as that timeout comes to an end. So it's going to be a 1st and 10 once again from the 31-yard line. We're going to come out in a trip set here on the left, ISO'd on the right. We have Carter in the backfield. We have a couple of receivers we haven't seen too much tonight. Number 11 for the Cougars. That is Jalen Pierce, who actually leads the team in yards per game and yards on the season, has over 100 yards per game. We also have number 9 out there. That is Brandon Pierce, the track star from high school that ran in the Division II championship. And we have number 88, who's been having the day of his life, which is Elijah Abid. So he's going to pitch it out left. Carter's going to get to the outside, take it to the 30, 25, pushed out at about the 20-yard line. But there is a flag down by the 29-yard line.
Possibly a hold in the backfield.
One thing that I want to go back to a few plays ago when Ivory Jackson was chasing the quarterback, when he was chasing, going out of bounds, Agate he was actually able to keep his composure a little bit, throw on the run, and be able to get a few yards on the gain. One thing that I do like, he is able to stay composed even though the defense is just piling their way towards him.
And that's what you have to do as a QB. Keep the play alive even if it gets busted. Your job is to be a game manager, meaning that you have to sort of read everything in a field. And so it is important to keep plays alive and make sure that your offense has the best chance to pick up yardage.
Absolutely. We do see on the sideline, I don't know if the cameras can get it, but Vinny Corso is actually on the bike right now. Might have had a minor injury, but does look to be in not too much pain. So that's going to bring up a second down. He's going to get swallowed by the entire Moorpark D line, led by Drew Mathis, Ivory Jackson. Who else would you expect? That was a great team sack. You got to give, I think, everyone 0.25 on that sack right there.
Exactly, and I was just mentioning Agit. He was able to have the composure, and one of the things that would be difficult to be able to have composure with is you see how easily that defensive line broke through the O-line.
Right.
They had 4 guys right on Agit to be able to have composure rolling out to the far side and still be able to throw the football against a team like this, against a defense like this. It's pretty incredible.
So it's a 2nd and 27. He's going to hit Carter on the check down. And a nice snag coming out of it seemed basically from nowhere. Number 22 for the Moorpark Raiders coming in with a nice tack. DJ Turner stopping that before it could break for maybe a first down. Great job.
And I want to piggyback to that last play. It's interesting because we just talked about his ability to evade. I don't think he had an opportunity on that particular play. They swarmed so quick he couldn't even react to what was given to him. On that particular play, the open field tackle was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, and that's possibly the most underrated thing to me about a defense is the ability to make open field.
So Terrell Stanley is going to come into the game, someone we haven't seen yet tonight. But with that being said, they are going to call a timeout. And with a timeout, there is 4 minutes and 7 seconds left in the second quarter. And with that being said, we do want to thank a couple more of our sponsors. Once again, could not be able to do without you guys. We appreciate everything that you guys are able to do for this community. We want to start by thanking Luminary Photo. Weddings, events, headshots, families, and seniors. Check out luminaryphoto.com or call 805-587-7611. That's Luminary Photo.
And just going back off of what you were mentioning, Justin, about Agit not even having a chance to be able to get out of the pocket when he had 4 Raiders just coming after him. It is pretty true. He had nowhere to go left, right, forward. The only way they go is backwards. You don't want to go backwards. It will give up even more yardage for your offense, so you kind of just have to take it on the play. You don't have a wide receiver to be able to throw it to. You don't have a wide receiver in the area to be able to throw it to not get intentional grounding, so it's just a bad situation for Agit.
And I'm not sure, but to me that points to almost a miscommunication on the offensive line when you allow that many people into the backfield.
Yes, absolutely. So that's going to bring up a 3rd and 25. Another shotgun formation. They're going to hand it off to Carter, just trying to pick up a couple yards. And that's going to be a gain of maybe about 4 yards. That's going to bring up a 4th down and 21, 4th and 22.
And possibly look for a pooch kick. They won't fake it, I don't think, with this amount of yardage, of course. But you don't want to kick it deep, like an actual punt, because of where you're situated on the field.
One thing, don't be surprised if you see them do exactly what they did earlier on in the game. Just have a high punt, take a little while to be able to punt the football, and having your guys go down the field and be able to down it inside their own 5-yard line. We already saw that, and this is a good yard positioning to be able to do that again.
And Vinny Corso, good thing he was on the bike, but he is back out there to return the punt. It's going to be a shallow punt, nearly blocked. He's going to fair catch it right there at about the 13-yard line.
And that's exactly what you want to do. In most cases, it's very hard to pin it in the 5-yard line because the returner is anticipating that. So they know where to go to catch the ball. So to be able to position them there, they were already going to get favorable defensive positioning due to where they were on the field to begin with. So perfect job by the punter there. Exactly what you want to do. And you set up your defense with a favorable position moving forward.
Absolutely. So that's going to bring up a 1st and 10 for the Moorpark Raiders on the 13-yard line. There is 3 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game. Troy Smith back in in the shotgun formation. ISO'd on the right side, Curtis Cooleyard. He's going to motion Vinny Corso across. Going to fake the handoff. Going to hand it off to the running back. Pick up for a gain of maybe a yard. And that was looks to be number 20, Alex Steele, pardon me, on the carry.
It is interesting seeing Troy Smith out here for another set of downs. Maybe they're just trying out both of their quarterbacks. As we alluded to, both of them are healthy, Ethan Postler and Troy Smith. But Troy Smith definitely impressing the coaching staff during practices this week, so don't be surprised if he does fairly well in the rest of the game to be able to see him for the rest of the season with Ethan Postler.
Absolutely. So we got a 2nd and 9. Curtis Cooleyard ISO'd on the left side, on the right side, pardon me. He's going to hand it off anyway. And they're going to pick up a nice chunk of yards, maybe about 6 yards on the carry.
And to piggyback off your point, Ryan, and correct me if you think this is inaccurate, but I haven't seen him throw the football all that much. He's handed it off a lot. If you're going to put him into me, I would like to see what he can do throwing the football.
I would like to see what he can do throwing the football against El Camino College. He only had one set of downs, and there was a penalty. There was a few sacks just in that one set, so he wasn't able to throw the football.
Correct.
So far in this game, you've been mentioning, he hasn't thrown the football too much. I would like to see what he could do, maybe have some short pass concepts, and then let it loose a few times, see what he can do, see his arm.
Right.
Got a wing set on the right side, directly under quarterback, and he's going to be stuffed. Maybe a loss of 2 to 3 yards right there. Nothing going on there. Looked like they were just trying to run for the first down. But so far, the run game hasn't been working too effectively. Now, with that being said, Alex Tilley is going to be a timeout. Last timeout for the Cougars. With that being said, though, Alex Tilley was the one that had that magnificent run earlier in the first quarter where he pretty much got nearly laid out, was able to spin away. So I understand why they want to go to the run game, but they definitely need to install the pass game more if they want to come away with a victory.
Well, and again, when Smith was in during the game we were on the road for, he was put in an unfavorable situation with another quarterback getting injured. So he didn't have the necessary time to not only prepare, but you're thrown into a situation where you then have yardage that is subtracted from you, so you're backed up. It's a 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14. And you're not going to get an accurate reading of what his arm really could look like because you're not getting an offensive rhythm or a drive going. You're just asking him to pick up 14 yards on one particular play.
Yeah, that's hard to do, just getting tossed into a game, not too much practice time, and trying to come up with yardage like that, especially with the team that we saw with El Camino last game. Just the pressure that they were put on. Maybe not the most talented team that the Raiders have played against, but still a solid team.
Steven Gomez, another kick. This was a little bit more of a dart, but the way it's going to bounce is going to be in the favor of the Raiders. Number 5 almost hurdles him, breaks a tackle, and kind of spectacular play. Able to pick up another 10 yards. That was number 5, Demarius August, on the return there. So that's going to take the Cougars to the 45-yard line.
And that's a good play. What set that up was the ability of the bounce. It gave the returner an opportunity to run because he's able to get it and start moving, start getting his stride going before he really even controls the ball in some cases. So good hurdle as well on that play to pick up an extra 3, 4, 5 yards.
And exactly what you were alluding to, Justin, when the ball was bounced, he is able to run directly into it. He's not backing up. He's not trying to catch it. Exactly. He's in stride. He's able to get it, and he's able to keep his momentum going forward. So the defense is coming at him. Now he has a brick wall going up against a brick wall, not just a player getting hit.
So it's going to be a 1st and 10. Again, it's going to drop back, but out of nowhere, Mathis and Ivory both come. The ball comes loose, but it's going to go out of bounds. He took a shot there. That was a little family duo sack. Ivory Jackson and Drew Mathis are actually cousins.
Well, I actually didn't know that. Good fact there, Nick. What the rush of Moorpark's defense today has been on point, both up the middle and on the edge. You saw a little swish move right there near the end, able to get around the defender for the sack on the edge.
So that's going to bring up a 2nd and 16. He's going to just hit him on the little hitch route. He's going to cut upfield. That's a bead coming up again for maybe a nice gain of 8 yards. So turning a little screen route into a nice gain of about 8 to 10 yards. Great blocking by the College of the Canyon Cougars. And that's going to bring up a manageable 3rd and 7. With just 32 seconds left on the clock, time is definitely of the essence. The Cougars have no timeouts, so they definitely need to get this snap off. He's going to look, just hit him on a quick slant to number 9. He's going to cut outside. Needs to get out of bounds if they want to save time. He's going to do an excellent job of picking up the first down and getting out of bounds. That was number 9 there for the Cougars with a great play. Brandon Pierce, the speedster.
And the point of a drive like this is to get into field goal range. With the amount of time you have on the clock, you want to get 3 points on the board before half.
One thing that I thought was interesting, a few of his passes, almost Phillip Rivers-esque, where he goes on a sideways kind of throw.
Yeah.
A little bit weird, but, hey, if it works for you, keep going.
So he's going to drop back in the pocket again. Everyone out in the pocket. He's going to roll to his right. Hit once again a B, and he's going to pick up another 8 yards. So right now they are just finessing this entire defense.
And I just want to clarify, I'm not comparing him to Phillip Rivers, obviously. Just the way that he throws the football occasionally, it has that little S throw that you'll see out of Rivers occasionally.
And it's important to point out that these players are still learning. They're still, and in fact, people learn. Okay, people learn throughout their entire lives. So these guys will continue to learn as they go about their careers, as they mature. And they're going to go for a very long field goal.
This is a 50-yarder right here. This is NFL level. I mean, we have seen Riley Garrett make a couple 49ers, but this would be a huge – they already have the momentum. This would be even more momentum going into the half. So 50-yard field goal. They are going to call a timeout. The Moorpark defense is going to call a timeout, of course, because the Cougars are out of timeouts.
Pretty textbook. I mean, I was surprised because they had 10 seconds on the clock, which gives them an ability to get a few more out routes, gain another – really 10 yards.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, Justin. They definitely have enough time to maybe get one more play off. The thing is, though, they're playing conservative. I understand that. Let's say they do throw a pass, which takes about 5 seconds, and the receiver doesn't get out of bounds. They really are relying on their entire team to hustle extremely fast back to the line to just have a chance. So they are making a smart call here, and you got to think about it, too. It is – never mind.
And, and they trust their kicker as well in this case.
Absolutely.
Yes, a big trust in your kicker, especially if he's trying to kick a 50-yarder. I mean, you got to have all the trust in the world, just as Moorpark has with Riley Garrett. We mentioned hitting his career long at 49 yards 2 weeks ago in the last game. If you have that much just trust in your kicker, it's pretty incredible. The trust might come from the 16-0 lead, but still.
That's true. That's true. They have a cushion.
Yeah,
good point.
Yeah, they have a little bit of cushion, but if you still give your kicker the opportunity to kick a 50-yarder, you have a lot of trust in him.
Another thing that's kind of interesting to notice is how they don't have anybody in the back there. They're sending the entire house to the Moorpark defense. Nobody's back there to try and return this. They're basically saying we're either going to block this or it's going through. I think they called another timeout. I didn't know that you could actually call 2 timeouts back-to-back like that, unless there was a timeout for something else.
Well, it does make sense because if you're afforded the luxury, you should be able to take it.
Oh, absolutely.
In my opinion. Also, it gives them an ability to see what COC is doing in terms of, I mean, a field goal is a field goal, yes, but maybe they bring in a different kicker. Maybe their formation looks a little different. You never know what they might bring.
And don't put it past the Moorpark Raiders to be able to get past that offensive line because, I mean, this team has just been incredible in doing that. DJ Turner, I think he's probably the defensive player of the game, at least that I've been seeing out of Moorpark College. Drew Mathis, Ivory Jackson getting most of the action,
well, he's
getting
had
the
a very
backfield.
good year as well.
Exactly,
Turner,
yeah. He's
had a very good year.
Yeah, and I feel like DJ Turner, he kind of gets pushed under the rug slightly. So DJ Turner just coming out each and every time, and he's kind of the leader of the defense along with Drew and Ivory.
So a huge second down, huge field goal, I should say, with just 10 seconds left on the clock. Brown's going to kick it, and it looks to be just short. So that's no good.
He had the aim, but not the power in the leg. But to make that clear, that his aim was true, it was solid, but the power wasn't there. You can easily say second guess and decide to throw, but I don't think either way it's a bad call because you're going into half already with a 16-point lead, which is very important to point out situationally in this game.
But that's actually huge, too. This might play a huge role later in the game. If he would have made that, that would have made a 3-possession game. Though they're down by 16, that's still only 2 possessions. And Moorpark gets the ball coming into the second half. So they're really only down by 2 touchdowns if you think about it.
Well, they do need 2-point conversions
as well, which
makes it a little more difficult.
Right. So they're going to take a knee. It's going to come to an end right there. That's going to do it for the first half. The Cougars are going to take a 16-0 lead, but Moorpark, as we just established, is going to come out with the ball to return it in the second half. Any final thoughts for the first half, gentlemen?
Defense has played very well. incredibly well. Offensively, I'd like to see Smith maybe get some more passes in if he comes back in quarterback. We'll see if they go with Pulsler, if they try to make a run and score some points because they trust him as he is more experienced. But yes, it's been a very clean half defensively. COC has played well as offensively with those slants over the middle as well.
One thing that I also would like to say, as you mentioned, defense not playing bad, but it's the same defense that we've seen out of Moorpark, getting beat on big plays, but stopping those short plays.
Right.
So maybe
Yes.
switch it up a little bit. Make sure that you don't get beat on those big-time plays so much, because down 16-0, mainly on big plays, just cut that off a little bit, make some defensive changes, but not far behind, especially with the top 2 team in the state.
And I would take this any day if you're Moorpark as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely. They're definitely playing to their potential. With that being said, we are going to wrap it up here. Don't tune away, though. We are going to have a halftime show, with Moorpark Center for Dentistry, changing the way people feel about going to the dentist every single day. Moorpark Center for Dentistry loves supporting our community. We'll be right back with you in just a few short minutes. Hello and welcome to the Moorpark Raider Halftime Show, presented by the Mike Stewart Moorpark Halftime Show, presented by the Moorpark Medical Center for Dentistry. Pardon me. Changing the way that you feel about going into the dentistry every single day. Moorpark Center for Dentistry, caring about our community. So alongside me, I have Dr. Potts here, who works at Moorpark Center for Dentistry, and I just want to get a couple of a little bit of feedback on what you guys do exactly with the Moorpark College and how you guys are intertwined.
Well, I sponsor the team. I have a billboard up there, and Vance is a patient of mine, and Vern is, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Vern is a patient of mine, and you got us involved, and just doing anything we can to support this team.
Yeah.
This is actually my first time being able to be on the field. Is really cool.
Awesome. Are you enjoying your experience so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere, definitely. Well, we really appreciate everything you guys do for us. So you said this is your first year being here on the field?
First year being on the field. I think it's my 4th year sponsoring the team.
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. And, just a side note, how are you enjoying the game so far? I know that Moorpark's losing, but it seems to be an overall entertaining game for you to watch.
Well, again, like I said, being on the field right behind with the players and getting all the energy and all that, it's a really cool experience.
Awesome. Yeah. Did you happen to play sports back in your day?
I did. I went to a private school, so it's flag football.
Okay.
But yeah,
I still
enjoyed.
You like the competitive edge to it.
Yeah, and when the coach wasn't looking, we turn it into tackle as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah,
right?
it's
awesome,
fun.
Awesome. We really appreciate being here. Just want to go a little bit more in depth here. So you guys are located in Moorpark.
Yes.
Right. Awesome. And you guys specialize in dentistry. Is there any sorts of deals that you guys have or anything that you promote for your company?
Yes, we do all kinds of stuff. We do sleep apnea. We do Invisalign. We have a big Invisalign special for October going on right now, actually. We do just you name it. We just don't do braces or wisdom teeth.
Okay.
But we do implants.
Absolutely.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We really appreciate
all under one roof.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, it's a great company. You guys have been a proud sponsor for us for many years now, and we really appreciate it. Actually, as we speak right now, we hear a little bit of ruckus going on. We have our big brand tires going on to the right of us. And basically what that is two teams run across. Whoever wins first gets a full set of tires. So it's kind of fun, to be here in this atmosphere. Yeah. We have all kinds of different events here, and we're very glad that you guys can be a part of it. Of course, we have the Jersey Mikes. We have the dentistry. And we always seem to have some sort
sandwiches and dentists.
Exactly, right?
Yep.
So,
and tires.
It's a great atmosphere. And so this is your first time. I know you said you were on the field. You're enjoying it. Is there anything that were able to talk to the coach or players or anything and get their mentality going into this game or how they're feeling watching this game play out?
None of the players. We got a little bit of it because they let me do the coin toss.
Oh, okay,
which is kind of cool. So
nice.
I got to hang out with the referees a little bit and some of the 4 or 5 players per team that were at the beginning.
That's awesome.
So
awesome. Did you win the toss?
Yeah.
There you go. You go. Brought us.
I did everything I could to help.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. Well, all right. Well, thank you very much for being on the show today. This has been the Mike Stewart halftime show. Alongside me, I have Dr. Potts from Moorpark Medical
Moorpark Center for Dentistry.
Moorpark Center for Dentistry. Thank you, sir. And we'll be right back after this.
See how he does. He's taking a few warm-ups. value package over $125. Are we ready? Get set. Go! Hey, I do not coach you here. Pizza, another side. Neck and neck again. Huh? I work at Game Break. He's back. He's going to roll it. He takes the... Oh, he misses!
And welcome back, everybody, to the second half of the Moorpark versus College of the Canyon Cougars game. At the end of the first half, the Cougars were able to take a 16-0 lead, but they did miss a crucial field goal from just over 50 yards out. Second half, Moorpark does receive the ball this half, so look for Moorpark to drive down the field and make something happen.
It is going to be interesting to see what they're able to do. Ethan Postler as well as Troy Smith, to be able to see which quarterback they go to. It's going to be interesting to see that. But Ethan Postler, thank you from all the family in Iowa for checking us out here on the Moorpark Raider live stream.
And Vinny Course is going to take the ball back, fly down, take a hit, bounce off it, and still drive for just over, looks to be about a 10-yard return, but it's going to get marked down at about the 15-yard line.
And Ryan, to piggyback off your point, that's why we do what we do, to give viewers the opportunity not only to see if those have family members in this game, but to be able to give them an opportunity to see their kids play and to bring the best possible game to them that we can. So it's an honor and a privilege to do it, honestly.
Absolutely, and we just learned how to actually pronounce his name too, so thank you for that, Postler. Well, starting off this second half right here, we have a 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. Ethan Postler under center. Looks to be a little bit of movement, no call. He's going to fake the handoff, look. He's going to hit Cougar on the post route, just underthrown, but he's able to get him anyway for the first down, it looks to be.
Postler's pass complete to number 3, Curtis Collier. Pick him all the way up to the 28-yard line. Now that's good.
Curtis Collier, not too much action in this game. We're looking forward to possibly be able to see him a little bit more. As Moorpark College, they have to be able to see what the defense is giving them, because not too much success in the first half. Switch it up a little bit in the second.
So it's going to be another first down, moving the chains. Postler in the shotgun, Archibald to his left. He's going to look on the outside, hit, just popping out of the hands there of Will Boucher, and that's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. But did hit him right in the numbers. Great throw, unable to come away with it, though.
Well, wonderful coverage there, honestly, because that tight coverage can jar the ball loose, and it looked like the defender was trying to tap the ball out of his hands. So good coverage, easy second down coming up right here.
So 2nd and 10 as the Moorpark offense comes to the line of scrimmage. Out there on your wide side, we have Will Boucher. Alongside him, Curtis Couillard. And we have Archibald in the backfield with Ethan Postler in the shotgun formation. He's going to take a snap, look to his left. Quick out pass, almost broken up, but somehow goes right to the defender, and Couillard able to keep his eye on the ball the entire time. Able to come up with a gain of 3 yards, but spectacular catch, keeping his eye on the ball the entire. Pardon me, that's going to be a 5-yard gain.
One thing that I did like about Postler on that pass play is he didn't just he didn't laser it in. He kind of lobbed it in a little bit. If he would have lasered it in, the corner, the trajectory that he took, that would have been a pick 6 most likely. Since he lobbed it in slightly, it went over the head of the corner and was able to get the completion. So that was a great job just recognizing where the defender was.
He's going to motion Will Boucher back over. Fake to Will Boucher. Hand it off to Archibald. Archibald breaks a tackle, but breaks another tackle. Comes around the backside. Breaks another tackle. He's coming around to the 40-yard line. Cutting down to the 50 before he's pushed out of bounds. Archibald, potentially the fastest guy on the team, but there is a flag, late flag, maybe after the play.
Doesn't look to be a holding call, but this ball might be coming back.
Lucky enough just to gain yardage on that play. Able to reverse field.
And also, talking about gaining yardage on the play, one thing that was a little interesting was, I don't know if you guys heard this, but I saw a whistle after Archibald was right about to cut back towards the other side of the field. I heard a referee whistle. I don't know if it was in the crowd or not, but I heard a whistle which would have displayed that there is no forward momentum and the ball would be dead. But obviously, they were still able to get a gain of yards, but it was just interesting to hear that.
And we just want to point out that that penalty was on the defense. So it gained yardage even more for Moorpark.
There's 3:20 left on the clock as Moorpark's able to pick up the first down plus the penalty added on after. So they are on the 48-yard line. Gain of about nothing right there.
And one thing that you will see out of Moorpark's offense, if you've been following us this season, including in this game, is Archibald usually tries to go to the outside. They have those sweep. They have the halfback tosses kind of going towards the sideline. Whenever he goes up the middle, it seems like the defense is right there. So right when you saw that play, Archibald went up the middle, and the defense knew exactly what to do. Try to see going on the outsides for Archibald a little bit more.
Yeah, with that being said, Ryan, we haven't seen too much of Jeremiah Creation tonight either. It's been Archibald and Telly for most of the night. Something interesting. So he's going to fake the handoff. He's going to air it out deep, underthrow it, but perfectly thrown balls on the comeback route. That's Will Boucher able to pick up a snag for a gain of 20 yards. Excellently thrown ball.
Wonderful read by Boucher right there. He was able to come back to the ball. Not sure if that was planned, but a very good instinctual play by Boucher.
And as you alluded to, Justin, it didn't look like he was coming back for the actual route concept. It seemed like he had to contort his body a little bit, push the defender aside just to get to the football as he was running a streak route.
Moorpark marching down the field. They're going to hand off to Archibald again, who's going to take it for another 5 yards. So some momentum in the second half early on. We've seen them start there on about the 20-yard line, pick up a couple of passing first downs. Archibald keeping the drive alive, able to pick up about 20 yards on what looked to be a loss. He turns into a gain of 20. Then you get the added on unnecessary roughness call, and then that nice throw there, or nice adjustment, we should say, by Will Boucher, puts the Moorpark Raiders in excellent field position, and they are now in the red zone. 2nd and 6 with 11 minutes and 39 seconds left on the clock. He's going to hand it off once again. Maybe a gain of 2 yards.
And to this point, we discussed at the end of the half that we wanted to see more open play calling from the offense, and I think we've seen that. There's been some mix-up of plays. There's been some balance between a run and a pass on this drive, so it's very important to see those adjustments.
Absolutely. You have to set up the run. In order to set up the pass, you must set up the run, and they're doing a good job of doing both. Trips a bunch lefts to the left side on the 30-yard line. Poster drops back, pump fakes, airs it out just behind the back of his hand. Unfortunately, just going to go out of bounds on that one. Intended receiver looks to be Kyle Peterson on that one. So it's going to bring up a 4th down and 5 from the 18-yard line.
So looks like they're going to go with a field goal, possibly here. When you look at that pass, it probably would have been caught out of bounds to begin with anyway. Interesting, good defending right there from COC as well. You just want to pay attention more to the ball. It looked like he had his back to the ball.
So this will be Riley Garrett's first attempt tonight and the first chance that Moorpark has to put up points. Let's see what he does with it. It's got the distance, and it is good. So Moorpark is able to come away with some points on the opening drive. Going to give them a 16-3 lead, but they did put up 3 points. So they did come away with a score.
And that kick, a 35-yarder. He knocked down a 49-yarder, which still had about 10 yards to go in the game we saw against El Camino College. So it's not surprising that he was able to knock down the 35-yarder. Look to see the Raiders getting a little bit momentum, marching down the field all the way down to inside the 20-yard line. I mean, it was pretty remarkable to see a team that went from barely any first downs in the first half to marching down the field so dramatically. Of course, a few penalties, but marching down the field so dramatically in the start of the second half. Just great adjustments by Moorpark College to get their first points on the board.
And I think it's important to emphasize the fact that they got points on the board. Many people may say that 3 points isn't enough. or it doesn't give any momentum, that is much bigger than what people may give credit for, because it gives them momentum, it gives them a bit of a positive feeling in their minds that they can continue in their next possessions.
Yes, and they also got to credit Moorpark scoring against the #2 team in the state. So they are definitely coming away with some major points. Nice little pooch kick right there. It's going to fall right into the number 13's hands of the Cougars. He's going to get tripped up and taken out at about the 35. And that was number 13 of the Cougars, Brody Patilla.
And it was a little interesting there because it almost looked like they were going for an onside kick in the sense that Kyle Peterson and a few of the guys were just running towards the football. And some of the guys that are usually not shown on the kickoff team were on there and trying to be able to recover that kick. So I'm wondering if maybe it was just an extra long onside kick that they didn't mean to kick that far.
I'm interested to see if that was indecisive. Like if they weren't sure what they wanted to do.
They get in the backfield. Carter's his running back. He's going to air it out. Pick up a gain of about 4 yards there. That was number 5 for the Cougars coming up with the snag. Demarius August.
The ball was underthrown.
There's 10 minutes and 30 seconds left as we proceed into this third quarter. It's going to be a 2nd and 5. As the Cougars come back to another shotgun formation. I don't think they ever take the ball under center. It's going to be another trips formation to the left side, ISO to the right. He's going to pitch it to Carter. He's going to come around the corner. He's at the 40-yard line, the 45, 50, and pushed out at about the 48-yard line on the other side of the field. Nice run. Nice pickup of about 10 to 12 yards.
And now that was a great run by Forrest Carter, but it was set up by some great blocks. The blocks on the left side of the formation, the wide receiver core, including guys like Eby, who we've seen throughout the game, just great blocks out of COC to be able to set up that nice run.
And Eby over there, ISO'd by himself. Look for him to get the ball. They've been going to him all night. Winsett's going to be a quick screen out right there. Number 9's going to come all the way up the field, break down, jump, cut back, and get pushed out of bounds after a gain of 13 yards. That was number 9 for the Cougars, some wheels we've been talking about all day, Brandon Pierce.
And we're seeing sort of the same game plan that they adjusted to in the second quarter. Those short passes, those outside runs, usually what Moorpark has defended well. I think they've looked so into the deep ball that is why they're able to exploit the short gain. There's a flag on the play, probably a false start.
False start. It's going to be coming back another 5 yards. So, Justin, just kind of question or ask what you're talking about. So you basically mean that you basically are saying that they're playing so conservative with the deep pass game that they're allowing the short and intermediate pass game to develop.
Correct. And I think they're willing to give that up because of the speed of their defenders.
You know, I was actually walking by the locker room just a few minutes ago, and the coach was making it very clear to his players that they are not going to be allowed to be giving up any deep passes. He was very upset about it. So there's a gain there of about 3 yards. Jaron Pierce able to pick up the yardage there. That's their leading touchdown. Their leading the receiver with leading touchdowns on this Cougar offense with 5 on the year and averaging over 100 yards per game. Tonight, been a little bit more quiet, though. Agit's going to roll out to the right side with Carter blocking for him. He's going to hit Brandon Pierce again. Pierce is able to slide forward for another first down.
And one thing that you alluded to, Justin, we were talking about it in the first half, was the way that Moorpark's DBs are matched up against the wideouts. They are sagging off, and you mentioned giving up those short pass concepts because they're not going to give up the deep play. I wonder if they're going to switch it up because they're marching down the field constantly.
Just going to hand off up the middle just for a gain of 2 to 3 yards there, nothing big.
Another question I have for you, Ryan. I can't quite see from here. Are they greater in size? Are the wide receivers greater in size for COC than they are of the DBs? If we look, we have some information here for ourselves.
Well, a couple of the star athletes, Brandon Pierce is only listed at about 5'11".
Okay.
We also have number 11, Jaron Pierce, who's also 5'11". Someone that it's going to be a slant route coming off the right side to B for another first, just maybe sure I have a first down. With that being said, B is actually listed a little bit taller than the others, and he is listed here at 6'4", 180. So if you want to talk about tall receivers, he would definitely be the guy. But for the most part, they're about 5'11", 6 foot, Justin. All right, so that's going to actually move the chains. We have another first down. Agate in the backfield. He's going to hand it off to Carter. Carter's going to cut back up the middle, break a tackle, and slide for almost another first down, it looks to be. Carter's got some wheels. The late flag coming in here. I don't know if there's some John going on.
Usually when you see a late flag like that, that is what it normally points to.
Yep. And that was August there with the personal foul. He wasn't even involved in the play. So you hate to see something like that happen when your teammate and your team's getting momentum and someone that's not even involved in the play makes a mistake like that.
Well, and it negates the momentum you have on the drive when you have that penalty. And look at what the offense has done. It completely changes the play calling that a coordinator or a head coach might want to go with.
And it does change the play calling because now you're at the 20-yard line instead of being set up much further inside. Now you got to go for more of a deeper pass route. I mean, I don't think that they go for their short pass concepts just over and over again. You got to look for a little bit of a deeper play, 10-plus yards now.
Well, and you have to remember, I kind of disagree only because it's not a goal line situation. There's still yardage to go to get a first down. So there is, to me, an option there that says you can go for those short passes because you have a marker to get to.
So that's going to bring us to a 2nd and 15. Trips to the left side, pinch to the right. Agate's going to drop back. He's going to hit Jaron Pierce in stride, but he's going to take a shot. Hold on to that ball, though, so that's a nice gain of 12 yards on the play.
Tough pass right there into the window. You saw how tight it was. We've seen today that the quarterback has been able to make those throws pretty much with ease, but he's living dangerously with those DBs hanging right on his every move.
We have both Pierces to the left side and a B to the left side. ISO to the right. We have number 4 for the Cougars, one of the deadly threats on this team here. And we also have Forrest in the backfield. Broken up pass, nice stop there by DJ Turner, breaking up that pass. And that was number 4, Leroy DeShorzer, that was also on there, ISO to the right side. So that's going to bring up a 4th down, 4th and 5 here. We're going to bring out the field goal unit. Pardon me, the Cougars are going to bring out the field goal unit. Looking to come away with some points on the board and to keep this lead back to where it originally was at, which was 16. Huge stop that Moorpark. It would be a huge stop for Moorpark if they were able to come away with this block. And it's going to be about a 15-yard kick. Pardon me, that was actually about a 25-yard kick.
The kick is good, and with 6:22 left in the third, it's now Kings 19, Raiders 3.
So they're going to take the lead of 19-3 after coming away with that field goal. And while we have a short break in action, I want to thank, Moorpark College would like to thank a couple of our sponsors here. We could not do it without you guys. We are very appreciative of everything that you were able to do for this college, this community, and for this athletic team. So we're going to start by thanking U.S. Army. Go on business trips with a company like no other. U.S. Army. Big Brand Tire and Service. Big Brand Tire and Service means go big. Proud corporate partner of Moorpark College Athletics. Rise up. Wells Fargo Bank. Wells Fargo is recommitting to helping our customers succeed financially. Wells Fargo, established in 1852, reestablished in 2018. UCLA Health is a proud sponsor of Moorpark Athletics with neighborhood offices in Simi Valley, Porter Ranch, Thousand Oaks, and Westlake Village. The very best care is closer to you. UCLA Health, it begins with you. So we got coming up right now on the, we got 6 minutes and 22 seconds left in the third quarter here. Tanner Brown is about to kick away back to the Moorpark kick return team. And he's going to kick this boot right down here. It's going to fly all the way down to about the 6-yard line. Vinny Corso, of course, who else? He's going to cut back, make a miss, and take it all the way down to about the 24-yard line. So nice return of about 15 yards.
Now that return, taking it from about the 7-yard line to about the 25 might not seem like a big gain, but if you saw what he did, he made 3 defenders miss. He cut it back twice, and that was just great moves by Vinny Corso, showing his elusiveness while also finding the holes in the kick return team. He was able to find the holes and get exactly to where he wanted to go.
And now I'm interested to see who's in at quarterback, considering what we talked about earlier in this game.
And here comes Ethan Postler in the shotgun position right here. To the left, we have Telly at the running back position. He's going to hand it off to Telly. He's going to bounce it outside and pick up a couple extra yards. Something we haven't talked about too much in the running back core here. We haven't seen too much of Brandon Archibald. Alex Tilley, has been definitely getting a lot more carries tonight than he has all season, and he's definitely showing us that he's probably one of the most tough runners to take down. I mean, just right now he took another blow and was able to spin for a couple more yards. So Alex Telley, listed here at 5'11", 190 from Port Hueneme, is playing spectacular so far in this game. We have 5 minutes and 39 seconds left with a 2nd and 8. Ethan Postler in shotgun position. He's going to drop back, make a throw just a little bit underthrown, and it's going to be dropped by number 4, Ryan Matlock.
Had it not been underthrown, that ball may have been caught for a large gain. You saw he had a step on the inside of the defender, giving him position to catch the ball.
And exactly as you alluded to, Justin, if he didn't underthrow the wideout, Ryan Matlock would have been able to go for a touchdown. It was the perfect route to be able to throw it to. And since he kind of had that post route, he was cutting back to the near side. If he would have led him, that means he would have still stayed one step ahead of the closest defender, which would have caused him to go to pay dirt.
Postler back again, spins out of a tackle, but he gets wrapped up and thrown down by number 32 of the Cougars. That was Tariq Spagates coming up with that tackle.
I'm not sure if we've seen a sack from COC today, but that was a very big statement made by the defense, saying that they are still here to play with about 4:58 and counting in this quarter.
And pardon me, that was actually Tariq Spates on the tackle. So yes, this is going to bring up another 4th and 18. But no need to worry when you have Steven Gomez, the booming punter, drops another dime all the way down to the 30-yard line from the 15. Number 5 is going to take it out. August is going to break a tackle and take it all the way down to the 45. That was a huge return. Great wheels right there. Demarius August with a nice pickup.
We've talked about August a lot today, and he is also being used in the return game as well. Big return, especially with Gomez's leg. To get a return off like that is very impressive, because it shows that even as someone pulls back, they're able to elude defenders quite easily.
And remember, he recovered it right around his own 30-yard line, and now the ball is inside Moorpark territory at the 45. Great return by him, able to get at least a 25-yard return.
So it's going to be a 1st and 10 with 4 minutes and 32 seconds left to go from the 45-yard line. The Gate's going to hand it off here to his running back, who's going to pick it up for a nice gain of 4 yards. On the carry there, that was number 34 for the Cougars. Miles Anderson, we haven't seen him too much tonight, but doing some damage when he gets the ball.
Due to this lead, you may see players that don't normally get playing time. Today, it is still a closer game, but because of the weapons that they have, they can use more people.
Shotgun formation, going to hand it off to Anderson once again, but Drew Mathis is going to swallow him up for just a gain of 1.
And Drew displayed exactly why he's a Division I talent, already having 3 official offers from UNLV, Illinois, and TCU. Probably more to come. More schools already looking at him, but not offering to him just as of yet. And just great job to be able to see where the where the offensive player was, and he just darted exactly towards him. Didn't even matter that he went for an upper body tackle. He has so much strength that he's still able to put him down.
It's going to roll out to the left. He's going to hit number 87 for the Cougars. That is Tim Wiggins, first catch of the night. And that's going to keep the chains moving again.
And that nearly puts him probably on the fringe of field goal range. We saw the kicker's leg earlier. He just didn't quite have enough, but those 5 or 6 extra yards can be a big difference.
And that kick would be about a 49-yarder right now.
Shotgun formation again. Anderson to his right side. He's going to hand it off to pitch to Anderson. He's going to cut up field, break a tackle, make someone miss, and he's going to take that all the way down to another first down. Anderson is definitely shiny when he gets the ball. We haven't seen him at all tonight. And when he has gotten the rock so far, he's made everyone pay around him.
I think number 33, Dylan Chung, has to come out for a play. His helmet did come off. We see that COC is continuing to mix up its play calling, confusing this defense. It's a big key, and it's part of the reason they've had such great success today.
You know, guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, but looking at the defense, it's going to be a 2nd and 1. He's going to hand it off, but he tackled just short of the 2nd down. So great job by the Moorpark defense. Looking at the defense here, guys, I haven't seen Braxton Rogers out here tonight. I'm not sure if he's been injured or.
Well, it is a good point. Braxton Rogers had a great season last year, and he came in this year. He has been showcased on this defense. We've seen him tonight a couple of times, but you are right that Tavius James and him kind of switch off reps a little bit. He's not in for the whole entire game, but when he is out there, Braxton Rogers does some damage. I believe he is actually out there on the far sideline right now.
Thank you for that, Ryan. Shotgun formation, he's going to hit. It's going to be broken away by Ivory Jackson.
Well, and to piggyback off your point, Ryan, we don't want to speculate anything. We certainly don't know if he's hurt. We don't know if he's healthy. We don't want to assume there's an injury when there isn't. Maybe he's just getting some rest today.
Well, he is out on the field right now.
Oh, he's out on the field. Okay.
We saw him earlier on in the game. He had a pass deflection. But, yeah, one of the points that you were mentioning, Nick, is just the sense of it seems like he's not used as much this year. But that possibly could be since he's such a great corner, they don't throw it his direction so we don't have to call his name as much.
Certainly. It's going to be a kick, and this one looks to be good. Nice booming kick there. And that's going to add 3 more to the Cougars, making it a 22-3 lead. Wow, we have another break in action. We're going to want to thank just a couple more of our sponsors here. Couldn't do it without you. And everything that goes on here at Moorpark couldn't be done without all the sponsors here that are able to contribute to our organization. So we're going to start off by thanking Harley Simi Bowl. Is your home for Moorpark College Raider Athletics, offering bowling, billboards, arcade, and rock and roll pizza. Full-service sports lounge featuring Raider happy hour every night from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., except on the weekends. Cosmic College Night Bowling is Thursday, and all you can bowl 8 to 9 p.m. until midnight. $8 from 9 p.m. until midnight. In-N-Out Burger, freshness you can taste. Moorpark Center for Dentistry, changing the way people feel about going to the dentist every single day. Moorpark Center for Dentistry loves supporting our community. DCH Lexus of Oxnard, proudly supporting education in Moorpark College football. Lexus, experience amazing. And with that being said, we're going to get right back into the action with a minute 31 left in the third quarter as the College of the Canyon Cougars are kicking it off to the Moorpark Raiders. Another kick here. This one looks like it has the potential to go to the back of the end zone. It's going to touch right on the line here. Vinny Corso once again taking it now. He's going to cut to his right side and just pick up a couple more yards being pushed out of bounds.
One thing that's going to go hidden is Will Boucher's block. Well, Vinny Corso would have been tackled right around the 15 to the 20-yard line, right around that area if Will Boucher did not come up with a key block. He ran in there and was able to stop 2 defenders from getting to Vinny. So, Will Boucher, great job on your part.
Certainly a great job by Will Boucher, able to make that key block and spring Vinny for a couple more yards. Every yard matters in football, and that one was certainly helped for a nice gain of an extra 5. With that being said, though, this is going to bring us to a 1st and 10 with a minute 23 left on the clock. We have Ethan Postler under center this time. Not too often we see that. He's going to hand it off to Archibald, but then the fumble. The ball's going to come out, and it looks as though the Cougars have jumped on the ball, and they're going to get the ball right there on the 12-yard line, we're going to call it. Huge stop and turnover for the Cougars.
That's a big play. It changes the momentum again for COC here. This game was and is still in reach for Moorpark, but with another score, it could make it a much bigger hole than Moorpark would want right now. So big turnover if you're COC.
And that is correct, because right now, with COC having a 22-3 lead, they're also in field goal range.
Right.
So no matter what they do, unless, they get sacked a bunch of times and penalties if they just do what they need to do, don't even get a first down, they can still kick it.
So he's going to fake the handoff here, throw it. They're going to stop him because of forward progress here. That was number 24, it looks like, which is oddly enough their linebacker here. They have him listed here with the Cougars. That's number 24, KJ Latu. And they have him playing fullback a little bit right there. Picks up a gain of 4 yards. So I think you mentioned earlier, Justin, how you like their coaching style, the Cougars offense, because of the way that they're kind of, changing it up so often. And right there it shows they have their linebacker playing fullback and a little bit of receiver. So they're going to hand it off to him once again, KJ Latu. And he's going to pile in for a touchdown. As I said that, their linebacker is now scoring on the offensive side of the ball. So the Cougars have a lot of diversity, you could say.
It's important to underscore, too, that in college football nowadays, and it's not just at the junior college level, there's hybrid players. There's players that have been put at multiple positions. You look at Miles Jack, who is now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. When he was playing at UCLA, and this is a D1 school, so it is a little bit different, but he not only played linebacker, but he was also slotted on the offensive side of the ball at some points as well. So hybrids are good in this game.
Tanner Brown with the kick, and it's straight through the uprights, making this a 29-3 lead.
And that's a good point that you made right there, Justin, about a hybrid player. But even just the coach having some common sense, even if they're not a hybrid player, such as Kansas City Chiefs with Don Terry Poe, putting him in the backfield, he's not a hybrid player, but just having some common sense, knowing if you have a guy that big, why not just hand the ball off to him and see what he could do with it, as the Chiefs do occasionally, at least they did occasionally. So hybrid players definitely good, as Latu is, but just also having a player to go to in a goal line scenario that necessarily you might not put on the offensive side of the field anytime except if you're 5 yards and in, that's definitely a weapon that you can use.
And being that COC is the number 2 team in the state, they have the luxury of having those weapons, considering not only, I believe you said they were undefeated?
Yes.
They are undefeated.
Okay, they are undefeated.
They are 5-0 coming into this game, and they are ranked number 2 in the state of California.
And you can point to a reason such as that. Their ability to mix it up and be creative in their offensive sets.
And the creativity with all the players that they have, all the great athletes, that's a good point. They could definitely use the creativity to get extra points up on the board, as now they have 29.
29-3 with 36.2 seconds left here in the third quarter. Going to be a kick down to the 5-yard line. Corso's going to take it out, run to his left, cut up straight through the middle, cut back to the left, take a shot, and get tackled down at the 27-yard line.
Big tackle right there. He had daylight had that not been made. There was only, I believe, 1 or 2 defenders behind him to be able to make that play.
And one of the unsung heroes of that kick return team, number 23, haven't called his name too much this season, Kenneth Stewart, a wide receiver, not used too much on the offensive side. He had a great block. He actually had his legs cut underneath him after Vinny Corso was tackled, but Kenneth Stewart coming up with a key block on the left side that could have opened up a lane for Corso if he wasn't tackled.
So a 1st and 10 here from the 29-yard line. Postler in the backfield. Archibald in the background. Pardon me. That's Jeremiah Creation that we actually haven't seen too much tonight, taking the snap. And he's going to get maybe a gain of 1. And, yes, a gain of 1. 2nd and 9 coming up.
And what's been hard for Moorpark is that if their running game doesn't get going, it doesn't set up the pass game, as we discussed. And they've had trouble today running the football.
And some teams that you do see, if the run game isn't on, they still could pass the football because they have that good a passing offense. But Moorpark, they need to have both of those games going.
So with that, that's going to finish up the end of the third quarter, 29-3, as we head into the final quarter of the game. The game not out of reach, but definitely needs the Moorpark team as a whole needs to make a lot of adjustments if they want to come away with a victory. With that being said, we want to thank a couple more of our sponsors here. We could not do without you guys. So we're going to start off here by thanking PennyMac. Let us tackle all your mortgage needs. PennyMac, the lender you can call home. International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. SoCal Life Powered for 125 years. IBEW, local number 47, is a proud supporter of the Moorpark College Raiders. DCH Auto Group, delivering customer happiness. Corner Bakery Cafe, Simi Valley Town Center. Proud to support Moorpark College football, breakfast, lunch, dinner, catering. Mercedes-Benz of Thousand Oaks. As a member of the Silver Automotive Group, Mercedes-Benz of Thousand Oaks has proudly served Moorpark and the surrounding area since 1982. Nationwide, our hearts belong to the Raiders. Put the needs of local communities first. Isn't just our key to success, it's our heart and of everything we do. Let's talk today. Bill Saunders, go Raiders. And with that being said, we're going to get into the final quarter of this game as the Cougars lead 29-3. Polster's going to hand the ball off to Creation, but he's going to be tackled behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 3 yards.
And if you're Moorpark, you need to start thinking about going up tempo, being that you are down by 26. At the beginning of this quarter, you're going to need to score quickly and a lot of points in a short amount of time. So if you are Moorpark, again, up tempo, maybe mix in some QB option as well, try to get the quarterback moving.
Yes, and Brady Glad is actually down here. The offensive lineman, freshman from Rio Mesa, has unfortunately gone down. Looks to be in a lot of pain. We hope it's not anything too serious. Hopefully he's able to come back to his own feet.
You never want to see an injury on the field.
You hate to see that. While there is another little break, though, we do wish the best for Brady. We do want to thank just a couple more of our sponsors right now. We're going to start with Matera Design Consultant. For all your design, layout, and production needs, contact Vine Matera at vmatera at earthlink.net. Matera Design Consultant. Los Robles Hospital System. 50 years of compassionate care. For more information, please call 877-888-5746 or visit losrobleshospital.com. Moorpark Country Club. Making a trip to Moorpark Country Club. While you're here, be sure to try our Sunday brunch, Moorpark Country Club. Jersey Mike's Subs. Since 1956, supporting the community that supports us. Moorpark College Raiders Athletics. Jersey Mike's Sub, a sub above, at 1197 East Los Angeles Avenue in Simi Valley. Well, it is good to see that he is able to get up to his own 2 feet. Unfortunately, he does look to be in a significant amount of pain. So that is definitely going to leave a blow to this offensive line for the Moorpark Raiders since he was a starter. It is going to adjust the chemistry now on the offensive line. That's something to take into account as we go into the final corner of this game. It's going to be a 3rd and 12, pardon me, as Postler is able to drop back and hit Will Boucher, who's able to break a tackle and stumble, but not enough to get the first down.
A late
flag is going to come up. Caleb White looks to be a little bit disappointed. I don't know if it was on him.
One thing that I like to see, number 89, Luis St. Pierre, he's the tight end. He was actually the lead blocker for Will Boucher. If Will Boucher was able to get out of the shoelace tackle, St. Pierre's block would have led him at least further down the field, if not the end zone.
And they're going to call that a late hit on the Moorpark offensive line.
And that is a killer, especially in the fourth quarter. When you look at what you want to do, not only do you want to go up tempo, but you want to be smart about it in the sense that you cannot have penalties on a drive like that. It is 4th down, so it doesn't necessarily impact you as much, but it is certainly a tough thing to swallow if you're a coach as well.
And that was on Brian Woodard, number 70, the offensive lineman. Stephen Gomez back to punt. He's going to punt it from his own 12-yard line. That's going to take another nice bounce all the way down to the 32-yard line. Number 5, August is going to pick it up, break a tackle before taken down by number 57 of the Moorpark Raiders. Great job there. Nice stop by Tristan Appleby. Tristan Appleby, we haven't talked about him too much this year, but he's actually a returner. Puts in a lot of work. We talked to some of his teammates. Hard-working athlete, and he's actually a linebacker for this Moorpark squad.
If you're COC, you might want to start thinking about running the football even more than you already have. You've grown your lead to the point where it feels like it's out of reach enough. So you want to bleed the clock and maintain possession.
I think that's the best call too, Justin. You just, at this point, you're up by 26. There's only 14 minutes left to go in the game. It's the smartest option to do that. With that being said, though, we do have Michael Wilson back in the game. We only saw him for one play earlier when Wyatt Agate lost his helmet. He is back in right now. It does look as though you were alluding to earlier, Justin, that now they have a comfortable enough lead to where they can put some of their other players in. But on the Moorpark sideline, they definitely have a chance to come back with 14 minutes to go. So it looks like they're maybe putting their starters in just a little bit too early, or backups in, pardon me, for the Cougars, but in a reasonable amount of time.
Well, that all goes back to the confidence as well.
So we do see some new faces out here. Michael Wilson, the quarterback. He's going to fake the handoff. He's going to roll to his left side of the pocket looking. He's going to hit his receiver, who does come up with the ball. There is a flag on the play. That does look to be Brandon Pierce who caught that catch.
One thing that is interesting, as you were mentioning, Justin, is the trust. And it does seem like College of the Canyon COC has a lot of trust in their backups, putting them in during the fourth quarter with still about 14 minutes left.
And more importantly, I think they may want to give Moorpark a different look, because as you saw in that last play, he rolled out to his right, which means he could, and I can't speculate on what his skill set might be, but it appears like he can run even more than the quarterback that was in previously, who looked more like a pocket passer. So it gives them an opportunity for RPOs.
Wilson's going to hand it off there. Only a gain of maybe a yard. He stuffed right there at the line. That was number 35 on the carry for the Cougars, Kenny Torrance. So as we talked about, there's a couple of new faces in here. We have number 19 we haven't seen too much tonight, Jumpai Dobashi, in on the field. We also have number 87, who is Tim Wiggins. We have seen him a little bit tonight, but a couple new faces to the team. So this is going to be a 2nd and 14 with 13 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock. Wilson's going to keep it, break a tackle, move left, and then he's going to be pummeled down right there on the line of scrimmage by the Moorpark defense, along with Dylan Chong and a couple other defenders.
And I think that COC might want to, again, run the ball. They've trusted their defense. They've only given up 3 points. 3rd and 14, even with this amount of time, I don't necessarily see them throwing the football here.
There shouldn't be any need to throw the football, as you mentioned, just running out the clock a little bit, trying to get it as far down as possible. There shouldn't be a need to throw the football, even though it looks like they're setting up for a throw.
So 3rd and 14. Wilson's going to drop back in the pocket, has a little bit of time. He's going to throw. He's going to hit his receiver in stride. That is Jompi Dabashi that we just talked about. There is a flag on the play right near where Wilson was at.
Possibly.
Might be a holding call.
I thought it might be roughing the passer. Yep. He went to his legs and clipped him, and when you go that low, it's definitely not. And there it is.
Justin and Ryan, you are sidekicks. That is a roughing the passer call. That's going to add 15 yards to the end of the reception there, and keep on moving these chains.
And I'd like to give COC's coaching staff credit, because they put in a backup quarterback, somebody we haven't seen, and they let him throw the ball on a 3rd and long, and he completed the pass to the best of his ability, and trusting him and giving him that opportunity is key.
So it's going to be a 1st and 10 here on the 34. Ooh, going to lower shoulder right there. A deep hit. Tavius James was able to stop it along with Drew Mathis and a couple others, but that was number 35 there on the carry. Kenny Torrance, who's basically been the go-to back the entire night, lowering his shoulder and picking up a nice chunk of yards, about 8 yards on that carry.
One thing you have to be careful about, as we saw, not in this last play, but the previous play, the roughing the passer call, if you go low on a quarterback, especially if his legs go down on the ground, his knees touch, and his butt goes backwards on you, that's going to be a roughing the passer penalty every single time.
So Wilson's going to pitch it out to Torrance once again. He's able to break one tackle, but then slam down after 2 more Raiders are able to stop him before getting to the 1st down. That's going to bring us to a 3rd and 1 with just 11 minutes and 28 seconds left in this game.
I will say that if there's one thing we could point to for Moorpark today that's been a positive sign, it's that their defense has been very physical. The hits they've laid on the offensive line, on the running backs, they've been hard, they've been jarring, and I think that's a calling card for this team this season.
Yeah, to add on to what you're saying there, Justin, I think the bright spot on this entire team this year for the Moorpark Raiders has been the defense, and particularly that defensive line. You have a couple of D1 athletes on that line alone, so that's one reason why they're so successful. Wilson's going to piss it out towards, and a shot there by Ivory Jackson. He wasn't able to wrap him up, but no worries. Coming across to finish it for him was fellow Moorpark Raider number 78, eating him up behind the line, Giovanni Rosa.
And that's an important loss because it puts them on the fringe of field goal range for their kicker. Interested to see if they even choose to go for it on 4th down here, even up by 29, because they do not want to give the ball back to Moorpark with this amount of time. It's a bit, I like to use the term tweeners. It's in between. You could go with 2 different options based on the time you have on the clock.
Nice word choice, Justin. So you have 4th and 11 here from the 35-yard line. He's going to turn around and throw it on the complete backside. Ox is going to pick it up, break a tackle, come back across, and take it all the way down to the 14-yard line. This coaching staff has been drawing up some brilliant plays right there. We just saw Wilson go right, make a spin move to the left, throw off the entire secondary, and able to hit August for a nice gain and a 1st down.
Well, one of the reasons why that play was so successful was the blocking downfield as well. Great blocking by the wide receiver core, and they just kept marching down the field, catching their correct blocks, and they were able to get that 1st down. Obviously, elusiveness by the wideout, but still great blocking by COC as there's actually an injured player on the field, number 5, Demarius August.
And he's been their pretty much number 1 for the majority of the day. Of course, as we've always said, we do not want to see an injury, especially to a person that has played so well today.
Yes, you hate to see that happen, especially with him being such a star and impact player today. But while we have a little break in, we do hope for a speedy recovery and that he's able to get to his own 2 feet. But while we do have a break in action, we want to thank a couple more of our sponsors. Once again, we cannot do any of this. None of this is possible without your guys' support. So we want to thank you. We're going to start off with Jan's Marketplace. Cheers to a successful season. Proudly supporting Moorpark's college athletics. Visit us at Facebook or at jansmarketplace.net for upcoming events and money-saving offers. The Hat Restaurant in Simi Valley, since 1951, 67 years of serving the world-famous pastrami, burgers, dogs, chilies. Open 7 days from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Visit www.thehat.com. Ladin Auto Group, family-owned and operated for over 45 years, always close to home. Located in the Thousand Oaks Mall. Go Raiders. Best wishes for a great year. Ladin Hybrid Hyundai Subaru, Stonefire Grill, where community is served. Proudly supporting Moorpark College Athletics. Stonefire Grill. For all your catering needs, go to 855-SFG to go or order stonefiregrill.com. Go Raiders. And luckily to see August was able to get back to his own 2 feet. Hate to see him go down, though. With that being said, we have 9 minutes and 51 seconds left in this ball game as the Cougars are knocking on the door at their own 14-yard line. They're going to hand it off to number 34, who's able to take it all the way down the field. Someone that we haven't seen as much tonight, but still making an impact, Miles Anderson stepping up late in the game.
And this is sorry, go ahead, Ryan. Oh, okay, so this is a byproduct of that 4th down call because now you keep the defense on the field, which makes them more tired. And now you're down to the goal line.
They're going to hand it off again, once again to Anderson, who is stuffed maybe an inch short of the goal line. Nice stop by the Moorpark defense, blowing up that hole before he was able to cross the plane. That's going to bring up a 2nd down and goal from the 1-yard line.
The previous play, when he went straight up the middle, that was obviously Anderson. It wasn't even the great blocking, but it seemed like Moorpark defense, they just weren't there. They weren't ready for it as he went straight up the middle.
They're going to hand off once again. Ivory Jackson getting a hand on it, and Drew Mathis finishing along with Joey Rosa. Great job defensive. The defensive line that we were talking about a little bit earlier, guys, once again stopping on a crucial 3rd down, or bringing up a 3rd down, pardon me. This is a big 3rd down here for this defense.
Well, they stopped that pretty well. Plug the hole right up the middle. That was a very big statement from the linebacking core.
It seems like the past 2 plays they've been trying to make some big statements for Moorpark defense after giving up a big run on that previous set of downs.
It's going to bring a 3rd and 1 here. They're going to be in a shotgun. We see a blitz coming through. Ivory Jackson able to blitz, but fortunately for the Cougars, they're able to be unaffected as number 12, Michael Wilson is able to run into the end zone. But I like the blitz call. Sorry to cut you off there, Ryan. Blowing up that run, but unfortunately not able to stop it.
That was actually number 22, DJ Turner. Great job by him. He's been one of those heroes of the defense. He was able to dive through, but still, if you have that play, if you have that awareness, you have to finish it. You can't just come up and then give up a touchdown after that. Still great play by DJ Turner, but somebody else has to step up and be able to make the tackle.
Well, and it looked like that snap was botched because the quarterback was not, I don't think, looking to run it in right there. I don't know if he was looking to pass or pitch it, but he got a little lucky that the defensive line sort of collapsed and he was able to waltz into the end zone.
Yeah, and I think, too, of course it's always mentioned, but DJ Turner, who plays linebacker but also plays a little bit of corner, whenever you pull someone in a blitz, you're obviously losing a spot. And he was coming from the left side, which is a spot that Michael Wilson was able to run in scot-free. So when you pull someone like DJ Turner into the mix for the blitz, you're also pulling him out of the play. So, of course, right there, it seemed to work against the Moorpark Raiders. With that being said, after the PAT was good up through the uprights, it's going to be a 36-3 lead as we have 8 minutes and 11 seconds left in this ball game. The Cougars are going to kick it off to the Moorpark Raiders. What do you guys think that the Moorpark Raiders can do in these last couple of minutes to maybe come out of here with, some more points and maybe some momentum?
I can summarize it in one word: score. I mean, it's.
That's right.
They need to be able to get some passes together, but the momentum comes from scoring, and also once you score, to be able to have that sort of satisfaction of scoring, to say that you've scored and now you can build off of it. And I think that's the most important thing, no matter how they do it, because they may need to look for passing, they may need to look for some more outside runs. We've talked about opening up the playbook as well.
Tanner Brown's going to kick it off here. It's going to fall down to right at the goal line. Taken back here by Vinny Corso. Is going to cut it. Nowhere to go. Still finds a way to break a tackle before he takes a nice shot by number 44 on the Cougar specialties. That was
flag.
Earl English. Was a flag. Might have been a helmet-to-helmet right there. Earl English on the tackle.
I saw some chirping near the edge, almost close to the sideline. I'm not sure if that's what the call is about, but it's on this side of the field. It's on I would say our right. Is that correct? Our right side. So could be something else, but I did see some chirping.
One thing to also note on our previous point about Moorpark offense, I think one of the most important things is just to be able to get the offense start marching down the field. Just be able to basically act as this as a practice. 8 minutes left in the game and you're down by 33 points. Get some points on the board, but work on some plays. Work on your chemistry and get that together for the next game as well. As Justin, there was a sportsmanlike conduct penalty as you were referring to.
And to piggyback off your chemistry point, it's very hard when you have a quarterback that's already down and you bring in, as we discussed, a red shirt. So there needs to be a system in place so that the offensive line feels reassured about who's behind them.
Posler in the shotgun formation again. We got Boucher up there running down the field. Has a man beat, and just to be a little bit overthrown there to the right side.
One thing about that deep pass play, I don't mind it at all. Sure, it was thrown a little too inside. It was underthrown as well to Boucher. But still, I want to see Ethan Posler. If he can launch it down the field, I want to see his arm. I've seen his arm during practice, and he can launch it deep down the field. I want to see that during a game. And to at least work on that a little bit right now, I think that's a great call from the coaches to be able to at least see if he could do that.
Exactly, and still some more confidence in him before this game comes to an end. So we have a 2nd and 10 here. Ethan Posler, muff snap. Ball bounces off the helmet of one of the Moorpark Raiders, and it comes up with, we're going to find out right now. It looked to be on the Moorpark Raiders, and then it looked to be the Cougars lost the ball, and then they're going to.
It's based on the referee signal here. We'll have to just see. Oh, and a
there's
flag.
A flag, some late jawing. Number 15 of the Cougars looks to be a little confused.
And if you're COC right now, you need to stay composed, despite the fact that you are up by 33. It is important to stay composed and to not let your emotions dictate, because you still want to build for your next game that you might be playing. And that's important.
The unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against number 15, Jacques Vukobradovic from the COC Cougars.
Yeah, and that just gave Moorpark a little bit more momentum there. Would turn into basically almost a muff snap fumble into a turnover, actually becomes a first down. So a little bit of luck there. Let's see what the Raiders can do with it. 1st and 10 there from the 38. Paulser's going to hit Boucher, but just a little bit
another
underthrown.
flag.
Another flag's thrown.
Elite, an eligible receiver. So Ryan, I'd like to piggyback off your point earlier about the muff snap. The snap previous to that is, I thought I saw a little bit of a botch in the catch by Postler. And I don't know if it's a miscommunication between the snap count, or it could be just the fact that the center is snapping it a little bit off to the right or left. But I did see a botch earlier in previous plays.
And we have a couple new faces here. We have Troy Smith along with Jeremiah Creation, both in the backfield. Creation breaks one tackle and slammed down after another. Number 24, who we just talked about scoring that touchdown earlier in the game, the linebacker, is KJ Latou, laid a hit on him.
And as you were referring to a little bit earlier, Justin, I did see that as well. As Postler, it seemed like it was a little bit of muff snap. He couldn't get his hands on it. It was a little too low. But that could also be from the chemistry-wise.
Right. Making
sure that you know your quarterback. Ethan Postler, obviously number 16, as he's the starter right now. He's 6'3". Bryce Viole, the previous starter, was 6'2". But if you're in practice, Bryce looks much shorter than Ethan in person.
And they're just going to go deep right here. Kyle Peterson able to pick up the catch, break a tackle, and slide for just shy of the first down.
That was the best pass of the day, I think, that we've seen out of Moorpark's offense. They're looking to score. Obviously, with 6 minutes to go, you do not expect them to win this game, but they do definitely want to get some rhythm. And now it appears with Smith at QB, they're trying to do that to find an answer today.
Maybe test him out a little bit before this game is over, give him a little bit more knowledge on what they're looking at for next week when they go up against Ventura in the Citrus Bowl. So we're going to be a 3rd and 1 here. Trips to the left side, ISO to the right. You got Cougar to the right. Troy's going to fake the handoff. Troy Smith's going to fake the handoff, and take it himself for the first down, keeping this drive alive.
And correction, Ethan Postler, it's actually written down that he is 6'6". That's why I was wondering. 6'3" to 6'2".
All right, yeah, that's
during practices, he looks at least about 4+ inches taller than Bryce Viole when they're standing up to each other. So 6'6" does make sense for Ethan Postler.
A bunch shed at the bottom left of the field here, top of the field. We got an ISO set. Troy's going to he's going to pump fake it. He's going to throw sidearm it, but underthrow Kyle Peterson.
And it didn't look like he stepped into that. It looked like he, as you alluded to earlier, sidearm. Not only sidearm, but he didn't use his full momentum to throw it, which is why it ended up short. And the receiver was open, which also we should point out that it should have been an easier throw to make.
With that being said, there is going to be a 2nd and 10 with 5 minutes and 24 seconds left here on the clock. Coming out in the shotgun formation, Troy Smith along with Jeremiah Creation in a dual set spread up for the wide receiver. He's going to pump fake again. He's going to air this one out, but overthrows Will Boucher.
And one thing as well, not bad routes thrown, not bad routes ran, correction there, by Will Boucher and Kyle Peterson on back-to-back plays. It seems like Troy Smith just can't hit them. It seems like it's just a little bit off, way too short on Kyle Peterson's throw, but way too long on Will Boucher's. Just trying to find the balance in between there, which these last few drives of the game, depending on how many chances that Troy Smith has, can get him a little more practice in game.
So it's going to be a 3rd and 10 here. Trips on the right side, Will Boucher isoed on the left. Troy Smith's got no room. He's going to run out of the pocket. Got a little bit of wheels, and he's going to pick up that first down a little bit more after that as he is dragged down behind the first down marker. That's going to be a late
multiple
hit.
Flags.
Throwing him down here. Multiple flags come out.
I saw 3.
Yes, one of the most important things during this situation by both teams is just to be able to keep your cool. Obviously, the coaching staffs will be able to come out and be able to control their teams if the referees are doing a great job as well to make sure that they throw the penalty flags before anything gets too serious. But just making sure both teams, you know exactly what you're doing. Make sure to get out of this game with no ejections, not too many penalties, and not too many injuries. That's what both teams want. So just make sure don't have too much contact after the play, and coaching staffs and refs just make sure to control it as they're doing right now.
And Ryan, quick question for you. On that last run, would you have liked to see him slide to risk further injury, possibly?
So personally, what I did like is he cut out to the outside, which I saw that was open, but I would have liked to see him on the cut to the outside slide after the first down marker, which he had a chance of doing. I mean, he is a dual threat quarterback. He is new. He's a freshman. He was a red shirt. So not giving him not critiquing him too much on that sense just because of the play time that he gets. But I would have liked to see him at least slide slightly to at least avoid a big hit, especially like the one that we saw.
And COC has played physical, so they're capable of those big hits as well.
Yes, they are capable of big hits. One thing that you will see out of COC Cougars is they're rallying their whole team together. It seems like the coach is making sure that he takes a stand and makes sure that his players are playing to the roles as well as Moorpark College. They are known for doing that as well. So a big congrats to the coach for doing that. Good props for him to make sure that his team keeps their cool as well as Moorpark doing the same.
You definitely want to see sportsmanship displayed. I mean, we are playing sports, but we also want to be.
Fouls on the play. All the fouls are dead ball. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, 22 of the defense. Dead ball, unnecessary stereotype.
A little bit of jumble of words going on over there.
Dead ball, unnecessary roughness. Number 8, the penalties will offset 4th down.
So those penalties are going to offset. That first down is going to be no more as the Moorpark Raiders now look at a 4th and 10. That's one of the most bitter things about offsetting penalties, especially when they're outnumbered. In this case, for example, the College of the Canyons Cougars had 2 unnecessary roughness penalties, and Moorpark Raiders only had 1. But it makes no difference. It means nothing, and because of that, the Moorpark Raiders still have to deal with a 4th down.
And, you know, I want to commend, as you said, both COC in rallying to stay composed, but Moorpark as well for not letting the composure slip. Because I was watching their sideline, and they stayed very calm.
And that is good to do. COC making sure their guys stay calm, and Moorpark making sure that as well. You don't want anything getting out of hand. There's only about 5 minutes left in the game. You don't want any suspensions or ejections or injuries happening, especially in the last 5 minutes. So just make sure, keep your cool for the last few minutes of the game, and focus on football, focus on the game to play.
So that's going to bring up an actual 4th and 2 as we have a trip to the left, ISO to the right, Will Boucher to the right. We have Jeremiah Creation in the backfield who's going to take it and be tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So that's going to turn the ball over back to the Cougars. And with that, we have 4 minutes and 39 seconds left in this game. One thing that I want to talk about, guys, I know it's nothing that will actually help necessarily when it comes to a game, but when they're talking about in the pregame, our PA announcer actually mentioned that Moorpark ranked 1st in academics per football team. We are actually the only school that has a 3.0 or higher for a junior college football team, and we actually had a 3.04 is what he said. So though that might not help here, that's definitely going to help if some of these athletes like Drew Mathis, who actually has a 4.0 they talked about, will help you get to the next level. So even if your team can't come away with wins, you're definitely getting rides if you can get a scholarship because you're academics. First First and 10 is going to be swung out right, and he's going to be stopped behind the line for a 1-yard loss.
And Nick, to piggyback off that point, for those that may be watching who also go to this school, we should all be very proud of that. Academics are why school is so important, because when the football career ends, there needs to be a backup, and in a lot of cases, the academics come into play in that sense. So it is very important.
2nd and 11. Troy Smith's going to keep the ball here before he is brought down behind the line of scrimmage for a 2-yard loss.
And just to piggyback off of that as well, Moorpark College being number 1 in the state of California in academics, as well as being 4th in the nation. Definitely a good school to go to. College of the Canyons, not a school to it's a school that's just as great as academics as well. So it's always good to be able to see those schools going up against each other. But Moorpark College, definitely number 1 in the state of California, number 4 in the nation.
So it's going to be a 3rd and 13. Troy Smith's going to roll out to his left side. He's going to air this one out wide open, but it's out of bounds. Moorpark defense catches a lucky break. That was Michael Wilson on the throw.
And interesting to throw it there with 3:24. Why not? You're trying to see the skill set of the rest of your team, teams that have, or players that haven't normally gotten time, as we discussed earlier in this game. So I think that's the point of these play calls, is that you're trying to see the skill set of the other players you have.
It's going to bring up a 4th and 14. The punting unit is back out again with Tanner Brown out there. There's 3 minutes and 24 seconds left, and Vinny Corso is back to receive this punt. Shallow punt, very shallow punt. Might roll a little bit farther, though. Corso's going to let this one roll all the way down to about the 15-yard line. So an actual punt that went a lot farther than I think we predicted it to go. That's going to give the Moorpark Raiders the spot of the ball at the 14-yard line.
Well, Corso did let it roll. He was caught. Again, I'll use the term tweeners, because it looked like if he tried to catch it, it would have either been muffed or juggled at the very least from where he was standing.
Yes, a great decision there by Corso to just let that ball roll out. Never want to risk anything that can get you hurt, too, especially that late in the game, trying to make a play when you're down by 33 and then cause an injury when it's not worth it. Smart move. So that's going to bring up a 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. Troy Smith back in the shotgun. He's going to fake the handoff to Jeremiah Creation. Will Boucher is going to take a lick as he's unable to come down with that throw. He is feeling that shot. That was number 3, Byron Mills, pardon me, knocking the wood on Boucher. He is definitely in some pain. That was a brutal hit.
And there is one word that can describe that hit. Ow. I can feel it up here.
And Boucher, I mean, legally that was a legal hit. He did not lead with his helmet, so that's a good job by the defender to be able to make a legal hit. Definitely a statement hit, and I can understand why a coach like Mike Stewart is angry about that hit, but it is a legal hit. Just want to make sure that is clear. It is a big hit, though, so you do got to worry about your guys getting injured, and that's possibly what Mike Stewart is talking about with the referees.
If that hit was illegal, would you have seen an unsportsmanlike conduct or a unnecessary roughness on a play like that?
I think so. I think you could make a case for a defenseless receiver, but in that case, since it was clean, there's no reason for the flag. I understand why, like Ryan said, Coach Mike Stewart, of course you're going to be upset, especially I think too when you're losing. It's late in the game, frustration builds. It's almost in a way when you're a coach, any good coach, you almost look at these players like your kids. You know, you want to protect them. So even though it's a legal hit, there's nothing wrong. It was actually a spectacular play. You're still going to get a little. You're going to see any coach that cares about his athletes and his team and his players get fired up like that.
And another question I have for the two of you, because I don't know the answer to this. Is there targeting in junior college football? Would you two? You two may not know the answer either, but you see in Division I, in the big programs that they've instituted that rule.
I don't think it's a rule in here. It's going to be a 2nd and 10. Troy Smith is going to try and get out of the pocket. He's flush, and he's going to have to go down, throw it away. He's actually able to hit Vinny Corso. Somehow he's able to make a play that looks to be a loss of 10, turn it into a gain of 5. With that being said, Justin, I don't think the targeting is in a rule in this. I know that we saw last year, Ryan and I covered the Fullerton game, and when there was fighting, people were ejected, but that's different. I think targeting, it's not. If it is a rule, I don't think it's nearly as strict as it is in college and NFL. Of course, you see in college, you make one wrong targeting call, or you get called for one targeting call, and you get kicked out of the game. Here, I don't see that.
Well, also, yeah, and off to your point, from covering community college football, now this being my third year covering for Moorpark College, I have yet to see a targeting call.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So I've never came in that situation before.
Right.
3rd and 6. He's going to hit his tight end across the middle. That's going to be number 89, Louis St. Pierre.
Obvious punting situation. 1:59 to go.
So that's going to be by 4th and 4 with 1:53 winding down. Look to see the Raiders just put this ball away, and then College of the Canyons probably just take a knee until the game is all said and done. Before we get to the end of the game, just a couple more thoughts from you guys. What do you guys think about today? What did you guys see about today?
Well, COC is definitely going, at this point, their offense is very strong. They've laid some big hits in the last few minutes.
Gomez's punt's blocked once again. Picked up by the Raiders, but makes no difference as the Cougars will still take the ball from the 11. Sorry, Justin, continue.
They've laid some big hits in the last few minutes, trying to stay physical, which is important because it sets the edge as a defense going into your next game. So if you're Moorpark, you still look to execute your game plan going forward. As we've seen lately, that has been short passing and running up the middle and towards the sideline. We'll see if they look to do that going forward.
Ryan, what are your thoughts about tonight's game? What can they improve on and build off of?
I think definitely deep ball play for the defense, making sure the secondary is up to that task to be able to take that away. That's going to be a big statement that they have to make. But also on the offensive end, getting some run game in. The run game kind of disappeared a little bit with the passing game, just trying to balance both of those out. That's, I think, one key point that Moorpark has to get to. But that could also be from quarterback play, getting your quarterback situated as well, whether it's Postler or it's Smith.
Well, and I think it's tough to call a game like that because of
There's going to be a
plays.
flag on the play here. I think it might have been a false start. They are just going to take a knee. Sorry to cut you off, Justin, but we just want to thank our one last sponsor for the night here. We want to give him a shout out. Of course, we couldn't do this without you guys, and you're the reason why we have this broadcasting program, this sport athletics. So we're going to thank Luminary Photo. Weddings, events, headshots, families, and seniors. Check out luminaryphoto.com or call 805-587-7611. That's Luminary Photo. All right, with that being said, Justin, continue.
And so again, this was a very physical game. Based on the scores we've seen from Moorpark this year, I don't think it's indicative of their defensive play because we've seen them being able to stop the run, but being that the fact the offense had struggles this year.
Yes, I think Moorpark's had a tremendous amount of struggles this year. I think that they'll learn from it as this year goes. And if not this year, of course I always say there's next year, but there really is always next year. This team's not going anywhere. They're not getting rid of the program. But they definitely do need to find – they don't seem to have – they get hot in the first quarter. They have a good half or they have a good drive. And then after that, it just kind of all falls apart. And so we've seen that this year. It's been a rough year for the Moorpark Raiders. But regardless, they do have a lot of fight. And if there's one thing that we really have to point out is that their defense has been playing, especially their defensive line has been playing outstanding this year. So I think that the Moorpark Raiders will learn from this and ultimately build off of it.
One thing I do also want to say, College of the Canyons, I want to give them credit. When tempers flare a little bit, sometimes people get out of hand. Also credit to Moorpark Raiders, making sure that they stay controlled and don't do anything that they would regret in the future days. Also, with College of the Canyons, just kneeling instead of trying to go for a score. You have the ball inside the red zone, and instead of trying to just run up the score, having respect for the other team, that's something that most people don't talk about, but is very important. So I am very impressed with College of the Canyons, having respect for Moorpark enough to not try to keep on scoring inside the red zone as they did recover off of the block punt.
And it's important to remember that these athletes are people, and you're still teaching them sort of the rights and wrongs of the game, how to be respectful, how to have empathy for others, things that you want to carry with you throughout the rest of your life. So we have to remember that as well.
Alrighty, that's a great point, Justin. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to your Moorpark Raider live stream. We want to thank all of our camera crew, Michael, Vance. We couldn't do any of this without them, so we want to thank all you guys once again for doing an exceptional job in making all of us look good. So we want to thank everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this stream of Moorpark Raiders live stream, and we will see you guys next week.